Megalodon.
It's the Megalodon Show. And we've got a Megala sponsor for today's show, and that is fantasychamps.com. And I am so excited to tell you about a brand new product from fantasychamps.com, and that is custom fantasy football jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
Customize them with your team name, your favorite number, your name on the back of them, pick a color. Represent your team the right way. Drape your body with the glory of your fantasy football franchise. And right now, through Cyber Monday, you get free U.S. shipping on trophies, rings, belts, and these new custom fantasy football jerseys. Use the code CHAMPSFREE. That's the code CHAMPSFREE for free U.S. shipping. FantasyChamps.com for custom jerseys. Mike's doing a dance.
Oh, these are hot.
Make
I'm
sure
wearing
you check
these every
them out.
Sunday.
It's time
Oh!
for the Megalodon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the Redraft Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Where we're going, the vocal range doesn't even exist.
Welcome to the Megalodon. Whew.
Oh, man, this morning we got sick kids, we got broken legs, we got sick wives. Ain't nothing getting in the way of this show.
No.
We had a Megala morning for all of us. Drama, dad life.
Yeah.
Jason thought his daughter broke her leg this morning. Happy to report she did not.
No, she did not, but, I mean, it didn't even matter.
Even if she did,
I
you'd
said
be...
get out back.
Oh.
Go deal with it. We got a Megalodon
Put
show.
some dirt on it.
Rub some dirt on. No, of course not. But, yeah, this has been a crazy morning, and that won't even come close to the craziness of this show that we're bringing right now.
This is the Megalodon episode. Your extra special, extra long, jam-packed Thanksgiving Day celebration. We've got every matchup on the show today. We got starts of the week. We got Pump the Brakes. We got some Turkey Day awards. We got a special little something later in the show. It's going to be
It's all special.
incredible. I think they want to hear your Megalodon again.
Oh, Megalodon.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to start out with a very
Megalodon.
a very special segment here. We have an article being released today, the Turkey Day Awards. that was okay. That wasn't bad.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. Turkey Day Awards. It's on the website from Kyle, our editor.
Oh, the
Borgogan. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kyle wrote this article. Here's the thing. We have not read these three awards, and I want to read the description of these, and I want you guys to come up with who fits these Turkey Day awards, okay? The first award, it's an overdone turducken. A fat, overdone duck cooked in a chicken stuffed in a turkey. You paid a ton of money for this fat blend of a bird, but you just can't eat it. Instead, you just have to look at it and wonder what could have been. Who's that?
There's only one answer for this.
Who do you think that is?
That's
David Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
yeah, it is. It has to be David Johnson. Even if maybe the Borgogan gave the award to someone else, but my overdone turducken would go to David Johnson.
Usually that makes complete sense, right? Burned you can't eat it, and it was so expensive. It's delicious. You're right. It is David Johnson, but
There's plenty of answers.
I'm taking the injury out.
Okay.
And so if you're talking non-injured guys,
that's fair.
I'll give you a hint. It is non-injury related.
well,
That's fair.
I'm going DeMarco Murray. He was also that first-round type of cost, and he has burned you several times this year.
You know what the answer is?
Oh,
I don't.
Who did he give it to?
Fire.
Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor is
technically
the overdone
he is on the
turducken.
IR for injury now.
Y'all get stuck in the
Mud.
Dumpster fire.
That's fair. That's fair.
Terrell Pryor's the overdone turducken. The other ants dressing and stuffing.
Uh-oh.
That's this next award.
That's trouble.
You never really know what it's going to be like. So this is the other ant who brings the dressing and the stuffing.
You know, we all have that ant.
It could blow your socks off and have everyone at the table ranting and raving, or it could make your stomach so upset you will feel the effects for days.
Ooh. I feel like the easy pickings here would be Amari Cooper. It can be delicious, but most of the time, vomit.
And like Thanksgiving, it comes once a year.
But I'm going to go Tyreek Hill because he's
that was my answer.
Golden hot, back and forth.
I'm going to go with Golden Tate.
Clippity-clop, clippity-clop. Ping pong.
Golden Tate been a little bit like that this year.
He's been mostly good, though. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I'm with Jason. I would go with Tyreek Hill for the other aunt's dressing.
The answer
stuffing.
from editor Kyle.
Oh,
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, nice.
I like Mike's point, though. I think that means the other ant's dressing and stuffing it makes you sick most of the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, the sweet potato casserole. All right, this is a heavy, hearty, and delicious food. For
Incorrect.
For those first few bites, but you can only have so much before it makes you sick. So the first few bites, but now it makes you sick.
So the first few bites, you didn't actually get any on the spoon, and I was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
And then you get that sweet potato casserole.
Kyle's sweet potato casserole.
Just substitute whatever food is very heavy, feels good, and then you can't have
potatoes.
any more.
We'll go cheesy potatoes. How about that, Jay?
All right, that's fair.
I'm surprised you didn't go wedges from Jack in the Box.
Oh, that's later.
Heavy, hearty, delicious for the first few bites, but then it makes you sick. Who do we have that was delicious to start the year, and now you get nothing? Can't eat anymore, not even if you wanted to.
Well, see, here's the thing. The first guy that comes to mind, I'm still going to eat.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep at it.
Kareem Hunt.
It's Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
I mean.
No, I know the answer to this one.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I mean, you actually know? Or
no,
you
I
think
actually know the answer to this one. And
who started
it's not
real
Kareem
hot?
Hunt. We're talking about somebody that is droppable now, but delicious.
Oh, Jordy Nelson.
Oh, that's a good one, but no.
Dang it.
That was a great answer.
Who was one of your favorite first couple weeks? You were
Martavis?
You were cruising along.
Was it Stephon Diggs?
Mike
Gillislee.
Oh,
yeah. I was like,
yeah.
You can't drop Diggs, but yeah, you can drop Mike Gillislee.
I know.
Pour one out. Pour one out for
some
Gilly.
Turkey Day
Gilly,
awards.
There's far more available.
There
Correct.
are. You can find them on the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Make sure you connect with us at our website, thefantasyfootballers.com, and on Twitter, at the FF Ballers. You can follow each of us. You can follow the show. You can take a look at these sweet Fantasy Champs jerseys on YouTube. We're wearing ours today. I'm wearing my Fantasy Reapers custom jersey.
Got my Stairway to Evans on.
And, of course, Dak to the future.
Very nice.
Because where we're going, we don't need roads.
But you do need a left tackle.
Where we're going, we need.
very much need left tackles.
So it is Wednesday, which means
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
Auto Parts.
Ow!
It's like you got scared.
I had to take it to another
It was
level.
the-
This is a Megalodon show.
It's very creepy. Pump the brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Each week we pump the brakes on somebody that had a big performance, tell you to be careful about your expectations in the coming week. We've got obviously 3 games on Thanksgiving this week, and we've got a busy Sunday, Monday, important weeks for your fantasy football team. We want to get you ready. We want to get you right. And we're pumping the brakes. But who are we pumping the brakes on? Mike, you got a sad face next to your guy.
Ding, ding.
Oh, no.
We got to pump the brakes on the Abdullah Express. We cannot give him the full foghorn. They are, and I know he's got a couple touchdowns the last couple weeks. And Amir Abdullah, honestly, I still believe in the talent. I still believe in the player. But if you look at the fantasy scores over the last couple weeks, you're not bad, right? You're getting, I got an RB2 here. But here's the deal. Last week he dropped back down to 46% of the snaps after his season-high 60% 2 weeks ago when he actually had a pretty solid game. Now he's going to take on the Minnesota Vikings. I would prefer to avoid that situation if at all possible. So just a message out there to the people who are you're just cruising the box score. Or not even the box score. You're cruising the fantasy points in total, saying, hey, double digits. Let's fire up the Abdullah Express. It's sad for me, but I must say no.
Yeah, and I don't believe in the talent. Not as a feature back. I think he could be a very great third down weapon guy, get him in space, but he gets arm tackled too easily, in my opinion, and that's
it's a fair
problem.
criticism.
I've always wondered, like, since he's been in the league, Theo Riddick has been there, and he's already got that role. But it almost feels like if Riddick wasn't there, Abdullah could go into a role that fits kind of what he excels at more, and I don't know.
I'm going to continue the pain for Mike because I know Amir Abdullah was his guy.
You're going to do me dirty.
I'm pumping the brakes on Keenan Allen.
Oh,
careful.
I'm sorry.
Careful.
Brooks.
I remember when I pumped the brakes on Deshaun Watson.
Look, I know that Keenan Allen had a monstrous, otherworldly week, but he has stunk in great matchups this year. When he played Oakland, the Giants, New England, Kansas City, he didn't have good weeks, and this was a unique situation last week, and it was called Nathan Peterman, who's still throwing interceptions.
Did you see he was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week?
Oh, no.
Someone tagged us with a meme on
I was
Twitter
going to give
sphere.
you a lot of credit if that was a Jason original.
It was not. I give credit to someone I
Twitter,
don't remember.
to the
Twitter sphere.
Goodness. So look, pumping the brakes isn't about throwing a guy away. Pumping the brakes is about having fair expectations. Unfortunately, I'm pumping them on Keenan Allen. That was week 11. The previous 10 weeks did not make me think this was coming, and they had short fields and Nathan Peterman. So I'm gonna go Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I get that. I would just
hadn't
put
scored since week 1.
No, absolutely. I would just put the disclaimer out. This pump the brakes is not accepted by the entirety of the fantasy footballers community.
Thank you. That's fair.
Okay. My pump the brakes. I'm pumping. This is like a self. I'm looking in the mirror saying, Jason,
yeah, you are.
Jason, I know you like this guy. I know you've been talking him up. And you say he's really good and he's the starter. His role is secure. And I believe all those things. But I got to pump the brakes. Don't do it this week with Alex Collins. I really, really like what I've seen out of Alex Collins. This last week, he had a great week. You've got a guy here who got 20 carries, got a touchdown last week. He's got the volume, and that was with Danny Woodhead back. Okay, so the Baltimore Ravens rushing game isn't the best, but it's clearly become Alex Collins is that lead first, second down, on the ground runner. Here's the problem. He's going up against the #1 most difficult matchup for on-the-ground runners. Remember,
#1 most difficult.
For on-the-ground runners?
As opposed to the running back position catching passes out of the back.
They're all on the ground, bro.
Danny Woodhead.
He's on the ground.
Will have Danny Woodhead. Well, okay, I'm not saying he flies.
Danny Woodhead levitates.
But
It's just a very fun expression.
Sure.
That's ruining your point.
I would rather play Danny Woodhead than Alex Collins because when you try to rush up the middle or get the edge on the Houston Texans,
between the tackle
runner.
runner.
Yeah, sure. Well, tomato, potato.
To be fair, if you could just fly, I mean, you'd
be really.
You would never be tackled.
You'd be the 101 and less injury risk unless you fly too fast or to the sun.
Oh.
But getting back to my point here, if you remember the Houston Texans week 1 was when the birth of Leonard Fournette in the NFL, where he went. You've got 142 rushing yards and a touchdown given up. That was the last rushing touchdown that the Houston Texans gave up in week 1. Since that time, they have given up 0 touchdowns and only one other game since then where they've given up 100 rushing yards as to a team, not to a running back. So I think, look, Alex Collins, he's impressed me for who he is.
But he's limited.
But he's limited. The Baltimore Ravens aren't this great rushing
Are
offense.
you expecting Danny Woodhead then to have a good week?
I think he is no, I don't.
Would you start him over Alex Collins?
I would start him over Alex Collins, but I'm not excited about either.
Keenan Allen, Alex Collins, Amir Abdullah, those were the pump the brakes this week, and that was pump the brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every single day. Let's talk news, boys.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, Andre Ellington was claimed by the Texans, who just lost Deonta Foreman. I expect Ellington, if healthy, to get a lot of work.
I would say not a lot of work, but it makes sense that they needed some depth.
I mean, if you do look at the amount of carries that Deonta Foreman got, Alfred Blue last year got over 100 rushing attempts. I think that he will get a little bit of work. It scares me, though, that he has the pass-catching ability. because Deonta Foreman didn't. And so Lamar Miller was safe in that role. I worry if he starts encroaching on that, it might actually hurt.
They just need more weapons. I mean, they lost Will Fuller. Now they lost Deonta Foreman. Hey, guys. Sanity restored. Sanity restored. Tyrod Taylor starting at quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. Congratulations, Tyrod. You have earned the starting job.
I knew you could do it, McDermott. I knew you could make the right call. That's why I made
that was
Tyrod
his
Taylor.
comment.
No.
He said it's right for the team. That's what his comment was.
And then all the reporters went, "Doy!"
I'm giving him 0 credit.
What?
Well,
McDermott?
Yeah.
No. You don't get to make an idiot's decision
and then undo it.
and then be like, oh, no, we're going to do the right thing for the team. The right thing for the team was to never have done that in the first place.
Yes.
So you don't get out.
Yes, but
You're a buffoon.
You could also have kept digging the hole.
Yeah, exactly. It was a mistake for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to trade up into the second round to draft a kicker. But it was good to move on and cut your losses early. Sometimes you have to make those decisions after bad ones, and I give credit for that.
The Vikings
shame on you, Mike.
confirmed Case Keenum's going to start on Thursday. We expected it. He will be starting. The Broncos are going to start Paxton Lynch in Week 12 against the Raiders. You're giving him a chance to succeed against the Raiders, and he is.
We've also heard that Trevor Siemian will be the backup.
Yes. So now Brock has gone top to
Back
bottom.
to wallpaper.
So there has also been just ridiculousness happening there for the Denver Broncos decisions.
Well, what they do in the first practice of the week, they put 2 chairs out, and then they push play on a boombox, and the guys walk around them. And then as soon as they hit stop, this is what I've heard.
No, this is fact.
The 2 guys have to get in the chairs. There's a first chair and a second chair, and then the third guy's out. Brock was slow this week.
Yeah.
I thought it was, and then one of the chairs underneath has the envelope that says, "Oh, you're starting."
You're the starter.
It's not good. It's not good in Denver.
You have a new offensive coordinator against a new defensive coordinator in this matchup. Yeah, there you go.
And you have, exactly, new defensive coordinator for the Raiders who haven't picked a pass off. I bet you Paxton Lynch can change that. So, look, fantasy-wise, let's talk about both of those quarterbacks starting, Tyrod and Paxton Lynch. For Tyrod, it means an endorsement of your confidence in McCoy. Zay Jones is relevant, in my opinion.
Zay Jones has looked much better.
And if Benjamin is out, Zay Jones is going to get targeted.
And Charles Clay goes back
Absolutely.
to being Mr. Necessary. Jason, I believe your stream of the week was Tyrod.
It sure was.
So
that's good that he's playing.
That's great news.
Step one.
Yeah, I think he's a fine stream, but because the matchup is good against the Chiefs. But also remember, Tyrod's much better at home. That's not to disparage him as a streamer.
No,
I
agree. He is much better at home. It's just what Kansas City's given up, especially to rushing, to quarterbacks on the ground. I think Tyrod will expose that a lot this week.
All right. Well, let's do some. Go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, so the Paxton Lynch news.
Oh yeah.
How this affects Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders? Can you trust those guys to start?
I saw Scott Barrett, Pro Football Focus, tweeted out, and he was kind of breaking down the limited sample we have of Paxton Lynch, and the target share was to Emmanuel Sanders in his favor.
I think what you do in that situation, since we don't know, we just don't know what Paxton Lynch is going to be able to do, I think you can lean a little bit on the matchup. Oakland struggled. 2 very talented wide receivers. If Paxton Lynch is able to do anything, this is an opportunity for him to do it.
Yeah, I still play both Thomas and Sanders.
I guess that's the gist. All right, we're going to do an early in and out. It is
very early
Wednesday, so we're going to give you our best guess on some of these injured players, what's going to happen, just so you know a lay of the land before you get ready. You got 3 games you got to prepare for tomorrow already.
Oh, hey.
So you're preparing for the Minnesota, Detroit, Dallas, the Chargers, Washington, and New York are all playing tomorrow.
We try to give you this, advice every time we talk about the Thursday night football game, but this is an extremely important week to take this advice because you will all have players playing tomorrow, the majority of listeners. If your guy is playing on Thursday, get him out of the flex and put him at your running back, put him at your wide receiver. Even if he's the lousiest player, if you know you're going to start that guy, get him out of the flex. That way you have flexibility going forward with injuries in the week and things like that. You just don't want to take up that flex spot.
Yeah, one of the strategic advantages you have in that situation is, maybe you get to play a safer guy in the flex because you scored a bunch of points on Thursday. or the inverse of that situation. You can react to how your opponent – and with 6 games on Thursday, you might have a little idea how your matchup's going.
6 teams.
Yeah, sorry. With 6 teams, 3 games, you might have a gauge of how your matchup's going and what type of players you need to play, and you want to have that flexibility like Jason said.
Also, it's waiver day. Remember to drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot.
Look, and once again, I mean, we talked about yesterday how people, kind of like, oh, it's never going to happen. Oh, I got tweeted at. Yeah, someone in their league just grabbed Devontae Freeman off of the waiver wire. And look, these things, they just happen.
I know.
They happen.
I know that half the listeners are like, well, that would never happen in my league. Look, we play in as competitive a league as there exists, and sometimes
not Devonta Freeman levels, but there are players
it's just
that
stuff
sneak
that just
through.
shocks you.
Yes.
And people get put in tough positions. Now, we're past the bye weeks, but injuries put people in a position where they have to drop somebody they don't want to drop and things like that.
Always check.
Drop it like it's all. All right, let's play in and out.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
All right, quarterback position, Jay Cutler, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston.
So Kyler's the concussion. I'm going to say he will be out. I think that's
Then I will say he'll be in
Yeah,
because
we
we
got
have
it
absolutely
covered.
no news on this one.
Yeah, we're just waiting. Jacoby Brissett, we think he'll be in.
Yes.
Jameis Winston,
out.
Definitely out.
Devonta Freeman now, running back.
Yeah, that's tough because he's still in the protocol.
I'm going to go in.
Yeah, I think he'll play this week. He missed last week. He's feeling better. I guess he passes the protocol.
Samaje Perine,
In
for sure.
Duke Johnson.
I'll say he is in is a shoulder injury during the game, but I think he'll play.
Ty Montgomery.
Oh, Monty.
I'm going to say he's out. I mean, you re-aggravated the rib injury. If you come back too soon, you're just going to keep playing the cycle. I think they
don't have a lot of upside.
reason to play him.
Matt Forte, Mike Davis.
I'm going to go out for both.
Agreed.
Yeah. Mike Davis is the Seahawks running back, by the way.
Right.
I'm going to let you know that since he came off the practice squad. All right, let's turn to the wide receivers. Kelvin Benjamin?
Not practicing Wednesday. It was just there was no ligament damage in his knee, so he could play.
I think he's going to miss.
I do too.
I'm going to go out.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard, he's having major issues.
This is a Percy Harvin situation. This is not good.
I feel bad for the guy.
For the man. Yeah, Sterling Shepard. This is a problem.
Yeah, to have migraines creep up before last week and cause you to miss the game, and now
practice too
with days of further rest, and you're not able to practice. That's scary. There's no way to know. There's no way to predict, but he could absolutely miss this game.
If he misses, are you confident enough? I mean, would you play
Roger Lewis
against the Washington defense?
No.
All right. Juju Smith-Schuster has a small hamstring injury.
I'm laughing because I reported this in the office yesterday, and I think it was Andy's like, what, like his hamstrings are tiny?
Yeah, small hamstring injury. Way too small.
Well, it was labeled as a small hamstring issue.
Yeah, he's got an issue. He's got really small hamstrings. That's why he's so fast.
I think he's going to go.
Yeah, I would assume he will play as well.
Alan Hearns is a no for me.
Yeah, it's a no.
Chris Hogan?
I'm going to say no.
More like Chris Nogan, right? Right?
You deserve this. Yes. Thank
Will
you.
Fuller.
Will Fuller is going to be out.
I'm going to go no.
Jordan Matthews.
I think he'll play.
Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Mike Williams will play.
Quick note on the quarterback in and out. We don't know if it's Garoppolo or Beathard this week.
Sure.
So you got to monitor that in San Francisco if for some reason you're starting one of them.
Hey, crazy things happen.
Yeah, we play in a couple quarterback leagues.
I think it makes a difference for Kittle and Bitts.
Jordan Reed.
I'm going to say he's out.
I'm going to say he's never coming back to I mean, yes,
out.
He's out, but
Tyler Kroft had a right hand injury. Questionable. Re-entered the game.
In.
I think so, too.
he better be in. He's my – don't want to spoil the news. But, yes, I think he's going to be in.
George Kittle and Bitts, the tight end for the 49ers.
Yeah, I think he's in as well. He had a week off and a bye week, so he should be ready.
Most important player in football, MVP Tyrone Smith, left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys.
Please be in.
This is the first time in the history of the fantasy footballers that our in or out section has included an offensive lineman as he brought a whole new position to the in or out segment.
I'm going to start a left tackle league next year.
Yeah. I would draft Tyrone Smith. It's a game time decision. The early indications are that he will probably play. Monitor closely, and if he's out, so is
Oh,
Dak.
I had one other player that I wanted to get your opinion on. Do you think Devin Funchess is going to play this week?
I do.
What do you think,
I think he's going to play.
Jason?
I don't think I have any questions.
I think he's in. All right, Devin Funchess is going to play. Game day alerts, don't forget.
People are like, wait, what happened to Devin Scrumptious?
No,
What happened?
He's fine.
Totally fine.
It's just a reason to play the drop.
It's just a reason to dance. It's the Megalodon.
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 It was right there for you, and you missed it.
I was throwing it out, but Jason beat me to it.
Yeah.
Game day alerts, 1 hour before the games on Sunday. If you are not a part of that, jointhefoot.com. Come support the podcast. Hopefully you still want to after that dance. Probably not. And you can do that at jointhefoot.com. Mike's always on Periscope an hour before kickoff. Now, you're doing that in spite of the fact you're going on a little family vacation. You'll be on Periscope before you leave.
Should be.
TBD.
Too kind, Mike.
No, he should be.
You
So
better pay attention.
we're almost to the fantasy forecast.
Oh, my goodness. Before we get into the matchups, all of them. Oh,
All of the matchups.
Brooks, do you have those emergency Oreos like I asked? You got those ready? Just
I'm
in
ready.
case? Thank you. We want to thank today's sponsor, Pristine Auction, the absolute best memorabilia site on the entire interwebs. This is where we get all of our signed jerseys, our signed helmets. I never, ever worry about the authenticity?
Other than
go.
pronouncing it,
I got
there's
there.
no problem.
I made it of the signature. They use the best authenticators in the business. Who we got? Oh, we got Stephon Diggs up on the wall. Our office is covered in these things. Christmas is coming. You got to get these awesome gifts over at Pristine Auction. And listen to some of these prices. I mean, you're talking a Stephon Diggs signed Vikings jersey, similar to the one we have, $84. A Todd Gurley signed Rams 8x10 photo, $38.
What?
Tyreek Hill signed Chiefs jersey, $65. Look, ladies and gentlemen, you got to check them out. Pristine Auction. There's new
daily.
stuff, hundreds, new things every single day. Check them out. PRISTINE auction.com. You make a completely free account. You let them know that the fantasy footballers sent you, and you check it out. The awesome stuff.
Yeah, and hey, if you travel for work, listen up. That business trip you're about to book, do it over at upside.com, and we will give you 2 of the best gifts anyone will give you this holiday season. The first is a free pair of Bose SoundLink wireless headphones so you can have some peace and quiet on your business trip. And second, we could give you the gift of a better business travel experience. That's what you will get when you book at Upside.com. Only Upside has customer service specialists who look around you around the clock. They cover everything 24/7. They're available on demand by chat, by phone, by email, however you need them. They monitor your business trip proactively, whether it's flights, hotels, rental cars. So here's how you get your free pair of Bose SoundLink wireless headphones. Book your first business trip at Upside.com and use our code FOOTBALLERS, and the Bose SoundLink wireless headphones are yours for free. That's right, FOOTBALLERS at Upside.com to claim the gift of the Bose wireless headphones just for trying Upside. Is just one more way Upside is looking out for you and helping you reduce the stress of business travel. Upside.com. Footballers. Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details.
Fantasy Forecast.
All right, guys, we get to preview each and every matchup
Can't wait.
for this entire year.
I did my push-ups.
Now, there are no bye weeks, so we don't even get a break. We don't even get like a couple.
So we've got like maximum
34
games
games
all together.
34 games
34 games. Incredible.
spanning 68 teams. No, let's get right into
Is
it.
this basketball?
We're including Australian rules and Canadian teams today.
Oh.
Thanksgiving Day games, we're going to start right there with the Vikings and the Lions in Detroit. They always play on Thanksgiving, and they are 3-point underdogs at home. I think this is a very exciting –
Lions are.
The Lions are. They're the ones at home. And 44.5-point over-under. Got the Case Keenum experience, the 8-2 Vikings coming to town. I think this is going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be an interesting one. What are the big headline storylines here? Would you rather play Latavius Murray or Jerick McKinnon in this matchup? With the way that the Vikings defense plays against running backs, which is second in the league.
In this matchup, which I expect to be close, I would rather have Latavius Murray. I don't think we're going to have a situation here where the Lions are going to be able to get out to an early big lead and need to use McKinnon as in the passing situation.
Wait, you mean the Vikings get out to a lead?
I'm saying,
I'm sorry, the Lions. I got
get
you.
out to
I got
the lead,
you. Yep.
forcing McKinnon to be in that pass-catching role. Now, he'll be utilized. I like both players. I would start both players, but I would put Latavius Murray ahead of McKinnon this week. He's just been so involved. They use him a little bit more at the goal line. McKinnon is still in there sometimes, when they get inside the 5. I mean, these are two really good offenses and one great defense, and the Lions' defense is not like the Lions of old. I mean, I worry that this game, which has so many fantasy players that we like and it looks juicy because they're all in one game, I worry that it's going to be a little bit closer, a little bit lower scoring on this short week. That's my only worry with this game.
I'm going to lean the McKinnon direction out of that decision. Last week, McKinnon 58% of snaps compared to 42% for Latavius Murray. Murray's making his hay by getting those red zone opportunities. I'm going to go with the snap count there, but I think both are very startable in this game. Mike, what stands out to you on that Minnesota side? You confident in Diggs? A lot of people asking about him.
Yeah, it's wheels up for everyone on Minnesota, honestly. I mean, Keenum, I think, is a very fine stream this week. McKinnon and Murray, I think I side with Murray, but both are very startable. Adam Thielen is an elite wide receiver 1. That's right, people. Adam Thielen is an elite wide receiver 1. Stephon Diggs can be an elite wide receiver 1. And Kyle Rudolph, low-end tight end 1. When both Diggs and Thielen are doing their thing, Kyle Rudolph is just a little possession guy who is a better playing PPR
Yeah, it's like
leagues.
Charles Clay is Mr. Necessary because they
he
rely on him.
He gets yards.
Yeah, and Kyle Rudolph is better than Charles Clay, but he's like Mr. Not needed.
Right.
It's just when Diggs and Thielen are there, it's like, hey, you're good. Unnecessary, though.
Mr. Unnecessary?
Yeah.
All right, Marvin Jones, great bounce-back performance last week.
Xavier
Rhodes.
Rhodes.
Probably listened to our show.
Yeah.
But he has Xavier Rhodes, who should play, right?
Yes, Xavier Rhodes says he's going to play.
So do you just cross Marvin Jones off your list?
I don't cross him off the list, but you got to move him down.
Is he marginalized like that stuffing that your other aunt brings to Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Yeah, I get close to marking him off my list because Xavier Rhodes has shut down a lot of really good players, and Marvin Jones does disappear from time to time, and if you can predict when it's going to happen, it's going to be against an elite corner. So he moves down to where he's a borderline flex play to me.
All right, let's
Golden Tate is in,
Yes.
and like I said, I pumped the brakes on Abdullah, so and Riddick has kind of really not done much of anything this fantasy season. So it's really, I mean, you could play Stafford and Tate. That's really all I'm super interested in.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Speaking to Amir Abdullah, you brought him up earlier. He's been stuffed 31.9% of the time on his rushing attempts. That's the worst stuff rate in the entire league.
Looks like we were right on our
Stuffing?
Stuff the brakes.
our computer algorithm that we built earlier this season.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, you're trying to figure out who could tackle Amir Abdullah?
Whether or not they could.
But
do you want to check that again?
what if I had a human-sized garbage bag,
Right.
but it was full of feathers?
Right.
Could that tackle
Would that
Amir
stop
Abdullah?
Amir Abdullah?
Let me type that in
at the
there.
line?
Let me see. Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it continues.
Continues.
What about because guys get like shoestring tackle.
Don't overload the computer.
Shoestring tackle. Well, this is a simple one.
Okay.
It's a groundhog. A groundhog. What if he grabbed his shoe?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, unfortunately.
That's bad. Hey, good.
Unfortunately.
Hey, in all seriousness, though, this game is inside in a dome, so I don't think we'll have groundhog issues.
That's a great point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What
All
if
right.
a stray cat ran on the field, though?
Oh, we've seen that before. We've actually experienced that, and
We're going to check.
okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. He's been pumped already. The Chargers take on.
Oh,
You sounded
hold
like
on.
the Mad Hatter.
Let me just interject here. If you are not part of the Join the Foot community and did not listen to yesterday's Footcast, there is Andy Holloway
Leave me alone.
doing this Arnold Schwarzenegger impression that is The best thing I've heard in my entire life.
Also could be described as the worst.
It's so bad. We've got to get this out there.
You guys are very kind to me. I feel me and Amir Abdullah are off in the corner together. The Chargers, they take on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are reeling right now. They are 1-point underdogs at home, and I think the Chargers win this game. So I'm with Vegas on that one. 48-point over/under, which affords a lot of fantasy value. And I'm excited to see this matchup. I'm excited to see what Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen can do. Obviously, I brought up Keenan Allen earlier. I think he's going to be good, not great.
Despite the Cowboys allowing the 24th most points to the wide receiver position?
Despite that, yeah.
All right.
He is not look, I would expect
targeted over 9 times a week.
I know, but that's fine. You're describing like
the evidence is mounting against you.
You're describing like Michael Thomas Light for his average weekly performance. He doesn't generally get in the end zone. Last week, outlier.
Michael Thomas Light is very quenches the thirst.
I said it's fine.
Very
It's
refreshing.
fine. Michael Thomas is better than Keenan Allen.
Agreed.
Fair.
And I would like a light version of him as well on my team.
All right, that's fine. You don't have to look. I'm not saying to bench him.
Here's
Would you
one-
rather start Keenan or Dez this week?
That's an excellent
Would
question.
you like to ever start Dez again?
I would rather start Keenan Allen than Des Bryant this week, and part of the reason for that is because Sean Lee has been officially ruled out. So Sean Lee's not playing on Thursday, and if you look, and that's Sean Lee is a linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, who has had an injury-riddled career, but when he is out there, their defense is
Much
good.
better. Yeah.
It's actually like really good against the run, and it's upgraded against the pass. And when he is out, it's just terrible. I mean, they're missing the centerpiece of their defense, and so I think Keenan Allen will be able to expose that. Melvin Gordon gets a huge bump up. I believe that in the games that Sean Lee has not played this year, the Dallas Cowboys are averaging something like over 6.5 yards per rush.
to
the opponents.
allow it. Yeah. What do you do, Jay? What do you do with Hunter Henry with the goose?
He's one of those guys where
He's not goosing, but he is definitely caboosing.
I would rather still
Caboose
roll.
in his big boy pants.
So there's about 7 tight ends right now that if you've got them, you're starting them. You know, your studs, and then your Charles Clay is questionable.
Evan
Kyle
Ingram.
Rudolph, Evan Ingram. But he is, Hunter Henry, because there's not 12 surefire guys. I still side with starting Hunter Henry because when he hits, he has the potential, the talent, the offense to hit large and make a difference because you got a 50% chance of any of those guys that you take a shot at getting you 4 or less points, like that, just crapping on your team. And if they're all going to do that, swing for the fences, go for the upside, and Hunter Henry absolutely fits that.
Starting
bill.
Phillip Rivers.
Yes.
Would you
for
start him
sure.
over Dak?
If Tyron, this would be
I would
one
start
of
him.
those,
I'd probably start him over Dak.
If Tyron Smith is out, I would certainly start him over Dak. If Tyron Smith is in, I would start Dak.
Okay. Last week, we saw Dak without Tyron Smith again. It was not good. Alfred Morris, I'm going to tell you right now, he's my start of the week. I'm going to make the case for Alfred Morris.
Oh, I love it.
Shortly.
I love him this week.
The big thing that you got to look at there is look what LaShawn McCoy did when everybody knew he was running the ball last week against the San Diego running defense. That's the one.
Los Angeles.
I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've done
Yeah.
that. The Los Angeles rushing defense, look, they can get after the passer, but for whatever reason, they cannot cover up the running back. So I like Alfred Morris. Jason Witten, big disappointment last week. Only 1 catch, despite the fact that we thought maybe he'd be the outlet for Dak Prescott. And so I'd rather play Hunter Henry than Witten, for example. Last thought here, Des Bryant, look, 5.6 yards per target, 4th worst in the league. He is not currently the player that he's been.
Gotta go deep, man.
They didn't have time to go deep. I mean,
Don't
really
you see,
didn't.
though, this is why I had my preseason hesitation. It's nothing against Dez. It was all track record. It was all years of Romo. We know what you got with Dez. You don't know it with Dak yet. And look, there were some compelling cases on both sides. But right now, right here, Des Bryant he's a, 2-3 guy?
Yeah.
I would say 2.
Yeah.
Okay. The Giants.
Well, we do have a mailbag question. A carrier pigeon just landed.
Oh, okay. Carry.
And it actually came in from Brooks just across the room.
Is it a crow?
I
Sounds
don't
like a crow to me.
I don't know where he got the bird, but he said Phillip Rivers or Matthew Stafford, because we've talked about both of them.
Yeah.
And he's selfish, and he's using airtime for his own.
I'm going to go the home.
Unbelievable.
That's tough because Minnesota's defense is so good. So I'll probably go Rivers.
I'm going to go Rivers.
I
like the home game for Stafford, but I'm going to go Rivers.
All right.
All right. Thank you for that carrier.
Take your bird
carrier
away.
crow. I didn't know they could do that. Are the Giants at 2-8 coming off a big win against the Chiefs? They take on the Redskins. The Redskins are at home. And, guys, I know it's crazy. But
No, you're not.
Andy's almost upset of the week.
What are you seeing here that makes you think the Giants will compete with the Redskins?
I'm seeing a Giants team that actually put forth effort last week, divisional game, and a Washington team that cannot string wins together. They won last week. Or actually, they lost last week, didn't they?
Unbelievably, they did.
Yeah, unbelievably, they lost. I don't think that Washington gets the 7 points. I mean, they're 7-point favorites, so I'd be taking the Giants and the points in this one.
Even if Sterling Shepard is out?
Yes.
Wow. All right.
He was out last week.
You know
They
what?
beat the Chiefs last week. They shut down the Chiefs. I think the defense, you no longer have Chris Thompson. That's a huge weapon that they've had in the offense. You're not going to have Jordan Reed. Josh Doxson is not consistent yet. I don't think the weapons are going to afford Washington to run away with this game. I think it's going to be close, and I think you're going to be eating your turkey and nodding and saying, Andy got it again.
The last time that I thought you were this crazy on your almost upset of the week was with the Washington Redskins last week when you said that they might almost upset the New Orleans Saints.
They blew an 18-point lead.
And they were crushing them and almost upset them. So I guess I will acquiesce here to whatever you are seeing there. And
the Giants, they're going to need to call up the services. If they can get the services of Storm from the X-Men to come in and do what she did last week, then maybe the Giants have a chance. But it's Washington.
I mean,
going away
look,
from
I
them.
really believe in the Washington offensive weapons. I think when we get to the starts of the week, we will see that we kind of all do.
For fantasy purposes.
For fantasy purposes, yes. So I agree, a 7-point line.
It's okay. Just disagree. It makes it more exciting.
All right, we'll see. So
Darkwa, light him up.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Redskins are 26th against the running back position in fantasy, and he's getting a ton of carries. He's being spelled briefly by Wayne Gallman or Shane Vereen, but it's Orlean Darkwa's backfield. Sterling Shepard, we don't think he's going to play. We talked about whether you might start somebody else. I think only Evan Ingram's the passing option. Is the only passing option I would start.
If Shepard is in, though, I will play him.
Here's the thing. Eli's averaging 36 attempts a game. That's 4th highest in the league. So they are going to go somewhere. So if you have to take a shot in the dark, Roger Lewis made some plays last week. He would be the shot in the dark for me. But would you play Eli Manning himself against the Redskins?
No. I wouldn't, especially if Sterling Shepard is out. And on the other side of the ball, so I'm starting Darkwa and probably Evan Ingram, and then that's it. For the Redskins, if you look at what the New York Giants, and I realized last week they showed up. They played with much more effort than it looked like they had been playing with earlier after that team meeting with
Jenkins.
McAdoo. Janoris Jenkins he looked like the player that we've been waiting to see or we expected to see coming into the season. But on the season, as far as fantasy points given up against the position, the New York Giants are the 31st, so meaning the second worst, against quarterback. They're 20th against the running back. They're 32nd, meaning the worst, against tight end.
Feel the Vern.
I mean, they're just across the board pretty much. They've been a bad defense. So this is why I think, look, you're starting Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to be great at home.
Oh, yes.
P. Ryan's going to get a ton of work.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Light him up.
Oh, yes. I'm very
Josh
excited.
Doxson.
Oh, yes. I'm very excited for that.
Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, Crowder's interesting because he's kind of the wild card with those Chris Thompson.
He's
fair.
the start of the week.
With the Chris Thompson targets vacated, where will those find
Vernon
their way?
may benefit a lot from that too.
Oh man.
I just want to throw this out as well since we haven't brought up the name, but Byron Marshall is essentially the only other running back now
for Washington,
who was activated because of the injuries to Rob Kelly and to Chris Thompson. If you're, in a deeper league,
No.
waivers.
No,
No, I'm just saying if he's the number 2 guy. I mean,
if you're in a
Samaje,
20-man league,
I would if you've got just a garbage guy on your team right now, I think just seeing if he is involved in the game might be worth it. Just throwing the name out there because we've never mentioned him yet on the show.
Yeah, and we saw what Mike Davis did this past week for Seattle, having not been mentioned and coming up from the practice
Sometimes
squad.
fresh legs at the running back position late in the season, they're just a little quicker than the
fair.
defense.
All right.
P. Ryan has a finger injury, and he's had fumbling issues, so there are opportunities there. All right, the Buccaneers take on the Falcons Sunday. And the Falcons coming off a big win, 48.5-point over-under, 8.5-point favorites in this game. I'm not questioning anything about those lines myself. And it's not good for Tampa right now. I know they won last week, but you played one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, the record for Miami doesn't reflect the stats for Miami. Miami is actually one of the worst teams in the league statistically.
they've stolen wins. I don't know how they did
really have. And so I don't think it's going to be very easy sledding for Ryan Fitzpatrick, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, only 3 targets last week. Doug Martin has struggled. Cameron Brate is now 3 straight games with only 1 catch. I really don't want anybody in this matchup. I know there's some logic there that says, hey, the Falcons, they're not a top-end defense, but at home, I don't think I want anybody.
You're saying even Mike Evans?
Other than, yes, you're going to start Mike Evans
Okay.
because he's a must-start guy, but I'm not enthusiastic about, I don't want to stream Fitzpatrick. I don't want to play Martin. I don't want to play Djax or Brate.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at.
I can agree.
At least with Evans you get 9 targets a game.
Well, and do you buy into all that the pendulum has swung over to O.J. Howard, who had 4 targets, 3 for 52 with a touchdown?
I don't
Any
think so.
interest there?
No, I mean, if you're staring down Howard or Brate, are you going Howard now because of the ice?
Man, I guess
I don't want either.
Yeah,
I still lean towards the Brate side, but the truth is I don't want either. We just don't have Fitzpatrick having a career of throwing to the tight end. I mean, whether it was in New York or now here, he's had pretty much one game that I can remember where he's highly targeted a tight end over his career.
sure. And over on the Atlanta side, I mean, I love Matt Ryan this week. I love Matt Ryan against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Devontae Freeman.
Heck yeah, man.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, no problem. Just wanted to throw my support your way.
I appreciate you. Devontae Freeman, once again, monitor his situation, if he is cleared to play or not. If he's out, Tevin Coleman gets a huge bump. I believe he had 20 carries? Yeah, 20 carries against the Seahawks. Not a great yards per carry, but that's kind of to be expected. And Julio
will be the number 1 wide receiver this week.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
All
He'll
right.
finish this week as the number 1 wide receiver. That's my prediction. He'll be number 1 in my rankings for sure.
Interesting.
All right.
Interesting.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, they have just been so bad against wide receivers. I'm starting Mohamed Sanu. I think he's a great play this week, and Julio should be able to exploit it. You wait for these big blow-up games from Julio, but they come, and they're coming again. They've been here before this season, and this
They're
just
throwing your
strikes
chips
me.
down on this game.
I'm saying, hey, I'm betting on red.
What about
Shoot,
Austin?
both teams are red.
What about Austin Deucer, who he returned to his 2-target ways?
No, you can't start Austin Hooper.
I mean, before that, he had 3 straight games of 6 targets.
No, thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Next year.
All right. No, not next year either.
Maybe.
Is he going to change into Tony Gonzalez?
Well,
I'm just saying, it's only year 2 for a tight end who looks to be talented. I think going into the 3rd year, he could step it up.
Here's the thing of those games I'm talking about. So, two of his last 3 games, I guess, 2 of his last 4, because the game against Seattle was awful, -1 yards. But 47 yards, a touchdown, 6 for 49, and a touchdown.
He's a talented player
Austin
on a
Hooper-
good offense, but I still think he's a little too raw and young. That's why I say maybe next year
like-
he'll be valuable.
Okay, so you would play Hunter Henry over Austin
Yes,
Hooper.
yes. I realize they're both second-year players, but Hunter Henry has the proven track record already.
Guys, you want to watch this Browns-Bengals matchup?
Boy.
This game's in
I
Cincinnati.
hear you can get tickets, and they'll pay you.
I hear they'll pay you to attend. 38.5-point over-under. The Bengals are 8.5-point favorites. Look, I like Andy Dalton. He's the stream of the week. I know we all like Andy Dalton.
Absolutely.
I like A.J. Green, like always. I'm okay with Joe Mixon. I know that the Browns have been good against the run, but I think 20 touches is guaranteed for Joe Mixon in this game. And if you're winning, he's going to get those touches. I know he's not sexy, Mike.
No.
It's unfortunate because he seemed like he was going to be sexy.
Absolutely, he did.
But their offensive line is bad. And then the Tomb Raider, Tyler Kroft, your start of the week last week, came through with a touchdown.
Yeah, he's holding it down.
And in case you didn't know, the Browns, they love giving up points to the tight end position.
Yeah, they are 30th as far as points given up to the tight end position. And I don't know how they're not 31st because obviously the Giants are going
the
to be 32nd.
Broncos are there.
Yeah, but, I mean, you start tight ends against the Browns. Tyler Kroft is a must-start type of guy unless you have one of those elite, Zach Ertz type players. The guy that I'm most curious about in this game is Corey Coleman. Corey Coleman, an elite collegiate wide receiver, drafted to be a superstar, showed some signs of that last year and then got injured, was gone. Comes back finally after more injury, shows signs of that. He
came back to 11 targets.
He came back
instantly.
to 11 targets against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
6 for 80.
Had 80 yards. The only other guy to have more than 75 yards this year against the Jaguars is Antonio Brown. But this is, again, a bad matchup. I mean, last week was too, and you were fine starting Corey Coleman. But the Bengals are the fourth best team against the wide receiver position. So do you just hold Corey Coleman another week, or do you take that shot this week of being able to start him against the Bengals?
As a 3, I can see you playing him as a wide receiver 3.
I know this seems crazy, but, I mean, we know that the Browns, they can play the run a little bit. Brandon LaFell is coming off a 10-target and then a 5-target game. Would you play Coleman over LaFell?
That is an interesting
I was
question.
checking the target totals for LaFell.
I would play Corey Coleman over Brandon LaFell in this game.
Yeah, man.
I
Corey
think
Coleman,
I would go with the volume, but
I think Coleman seems safer, but I would also say that the touchdown upside probability it has to be Brandon LaFell.
I guess with
fair.
the 8.5-point, favorite that the Bengals are, I think that the Browns will have to throw the ball. I mean, that's usually their case. So I don't think the Bengals, the way that you've seen some of these last two games where they were down and having to throw, I don't think that will happen in this game to cause Brandon LaFell to be very valuable. This is kind of how I see it.
would that be like a 24-14 game if things came true? 2 touchdowns for Cleveland?
Yes, I mean that
math.
Yeah.
What about Duke Johnson? He's been targeted 60 times.
Yeah,
60 times.
With him being banged up and the Bengals defense, I'm okay, but I'm okay with it. If you've been starting him, you probably keep starting him if he's active. If you haven't started him, I don't think this is a reason to start starting him.
I'm continuing to start him for sure. I mean, he's just been, if you're plugging in a flex play, he's as solid a floor type of guy as you can get from the Browns.
And he runs on the ground, right?
No levitating.
Yes, but most of his work is done through the air.
Oh, yeah. The Titans, they take on the Colts. The Colts are at home, 40-point over-under. Colts are 4.5-point underdogs. I think.
Hey, look, you can play Frank Gore again.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, sure.
Sure,
You can
you
kinda-
can, Mr. Simpson.
I think the Titans are going to blow them out.
Yeah, they probably will.
So I know you guys like Brissett as a possible streamer just because when he plays, he puts up fantasy points,
Yes.
and he's going to be losing in this game most likely.
And the Titans are 22nd
Colts are
against the
a
quarterback.
weird team, though. I mean, they put up that great performance against the Steelers a couple of weeks ago. I think the Titans, you start them all.
Yes.
But what does that mean at the wide receiver position? Because Mariota, Murray, Delaney Walker's been good. Those 3 players you can start with confidence against the Colts.
I think this game you start Rashard Matthews and you start Corey Davis.
I would agree.
And I would, even though I said them in that order, I would, if I had to pick one of those guys, I think this is the breakout game for Corey Davis.
That's disheartening for me and my listener league team because somebody dropped Corey Davis in the listener league yesterday, and I
noticed that.
I put in my highest bid that I could.
I did as well. I had $0 fab, and I knew I wouldn't get him.
I only had like $5, so I did not get him. So Dylan Duncan, shame on you. I used to like you.
Dang it. I think it's between me and him for the bye.
Uh-oh.
So.
Stupid Dylan.
Dylan Duncan, he played what? He only paid $4?
Someone didn't put all $5 in, huh?
My bid is gone.
But I do.
Oh, no!
I don't think I ever saved it.
No!
I would have had him.
that's
I thought I put $5 in.
Yes, that's it. You didn't save it.
Judge, do I have any recourse in this situation? Can you let me know, please?
Sorry, Andy. Yeah.
User error.
User error. That'll
but-
get you.
Yeah.
Here, hot tip, fantasy tips. Fantasy tips. Press the save button when you put in your waiver claims.
It might say submit.
Sometimes I do those things just to give you an example of
Right.
what not to do. I'm modeling what not to do.
All right, so you start your Tennessee Titans. You're not going to start Derrick Henry, or would you be willing to start Derrick Henry in this game? Yeah,
no.
I would not either. But you start Marcus Mariota, he should have a great game. Start Murray, start Matthews, start Corey Davis, and start Delaney Walker. But let's talk on the other side of the ball. Mike and I, we both agree, Jacoby Brissett.
Although we'll bring up that it, of course, was that most of it was that massive run at the end, but Derrick Henry did his big game was against the Colts.
A lot of people's big game is against the Colts.
You like T.Y. Hilton?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
I like him a lot.
Hilton a lot.
And I am the resident T.Y. Hilton
I think there's a lot of
hater.
people that don't know who said yes.
Well, both of us did.
Oh,
but it
you
was-
both like him.
Yes.
And Mike, you have him as a start of the week?
Nope.
Jason?
Yep.
All right. I knew one of you did. Talk about him shortly. We're going to break up the matchups, by the way. Right in the middle, we're going to do starts of the week for this week, and then we'll get into the other matchups. We're going to do a couple more before we do that. The Bills take on the Chiefs. Tyrod Taylor once again behind center. LaShawn McCoy, no questions. Had a great week last week. Get him out there. Don't think Calvin Benjamin's going to play. For me, it's Zay Jones. I really like Zay Jones as a streaming option this week against the Chiefs. 22nd ranked pass defense. I'm sorry, 32nd ranked.
Against
Not
the wide
22nd.
receiver, yeah.
Against the wide receiver position.
That's bad.
What? Somebody, you know what? Talk to people right now. Talk to people about Kareem Hunt. Talk to them.
I want to talk to Andy Reid.
just give people they need some help, because here's what happened. You came out and you drafted Kareem Hunt after we told you to, hopefully, in the 3rd or 4th round, and you were just
Living the
a
dream.
man about town. I mean, you were on the float waving to everybody as your fantasy points dripped down onto your league mates.
You felt like Danny Zuko.
Yeah. But now you're having to endure some disappointment and frustration, and I think a lot of people in fantasy, when that happens, they just want to do something. They want to make a change, they want to make a trade, they want to make a start-sit decision. You get people, right, even 3 weeks ago, well, do I start playing this guy over him now, even though Hunt was still outperforming? Talk to them, guys. Yeah. Calm them down. Do you need music? I mean,
Look,
No.
here's how we can calm you down. The issue that we were seeing with Kareem Hunt was that he was on the field less. He was not getting the carries. 2 weeks ago, it was the biggest scare, right? 9 total carries in the game seems outlandish, seems insane, and was exactly the fear that Andy brought up with what we've seen before from this coaching staff. And so Kareem Hunt comes out this last week and has a subpar game. But in reality, he had 18 carries, which you can't ask for more than 18 carries as a fantasy owner. I mean, sure, you can be happy, but you can't ask for more. Plus, he got 3 receptions. It didn't turn out that great, and honestly, he has not been as good as he was in the beginning of the year. We've seen this with rookies in the past where they hit a rookie wall. That being said, an ailment can be cured with the right matchup. And yes, the New York Giants appeared like they were a bad matchup, but Andy, you brought this up that they played, a lot different last week after that coach meeting. Mike, you brought up the weather. Here, we have the Buffalo Bills, who made that midseason trade, sending one of their best run defenders to Jacksonville, and both teams have completely turned around. And
real quick, I just want to give you perspective on the Bills. Last 2 weeks, you combine the points they've given up, it's over 100 points. Jacksonville's given up 97 points in the last 8 weeks. That's the Bills' defense right now.
Yeah, that's the Bills' defense that allowed – how many rushing attempts was it in a row that the New Orleans Saints were
24.
24 rushing attempts in a row, because it's like, oh, this works. Let's just keep doing this.
But will Andy Reid do that?
Or
will he go, well, it's working.
I
better throw the ball.
Do you think Andy Reid thinks that passes are runs and runs are passes?
Maybe.
Like just from a vocabulary standpoint, so he always watches these games and is like, oh, man, they passed it 22 straight times against.
Well, I got to do that. So the last 3 games, here's the yardage that the Buffalo Bills have given up to running backs on the ground. 181 yards.
Decent.
294 yards.
Okay.
139 yards.
All right.
That's great. Now here's the touchdowns they've given up in those 3 games. 2 just on the ground. 2, 5, 2. Kareem Hunt is a great play this week. He's got the volume.
Does he break the touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, I think he does break the touchdown drought.
Drought. That's the word. That's the word I was looking for.
And if he doesn't, if he comes out and disappoints, you're still going to be fine. He's not going to disappoint with 4 fantasy points. He's going to disappoint you with 10 and be like, man. And then you'll be worried about next week, but you'll probably have still been able to compete in your matchup and win.
Just a reminder, all of our rankings for the upcoming week going to be on the website today.
Megalo rankings. By the time you hear this, with how long the podcast already is, the rankings might even be up.
It's possible. It's possible. But let's talk about Alex Smith. Are you starting him no matter what this week, or are you going to have to make some decisions here?
I mean, he'll be a top 12 quarterback, so yeah, I'm starting him.
You like Rivers against Dallas more?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. It is. I mean, that's a really tough because the matchup is
I think
is
I play
in Rivers'
Alex
favor.
Smith. Oh man,
At home?
I think I play Alex Smith at home.
Yeah,
over.
I think I would as well.
Would you play him over Matt Ryan against Tampa?
No, I love Matt Ryan.
Would you play him over Drew Brees against the Rams on the road? I think I'd probably play him
I
at
would
home
play
over
Drew
Brees. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I would.
Oh man.
I feel like I'd love to.
You're wanting to put you're putting
got
your
the finger up
towards the water bet button.
I kind of want to.
It's too late.
Waterbed.
No. That was inadvertent. I'm not trying to back you into it. That was inadvertent.
Oh, I thought
Well, you inadvertently backed me into it because I agree.
Okay, I just wanted to kind of root
It's
for
already
Alex
in the
Smith again this
blockchain,
week.
man.
Oh, yeah.
It's secure.
It's already in the blockchain. Sorry.
Completely secure.
Sorry.
takesy backsies.
Kelsey was the one player that actually did perform in that weird matchup against the Giants last week. You're obviously playing him. And look, we can move on from this matchup. I think we covered all the relevant pieces.
Well,
Tyreek Hill, I mean,
Tyreek Hill is you have to play him every week. This is the life.
we talked about him on the show yesterday. It's not been as bad as you feel
Right.
like it has been. He actually, we had talked about the good week, bad week. He's double digits the last 2 weeks in a row. So
Oh no, two bad weeks.
No, that was the bye week in between, right?
no, I mean, like back-to-back weeks, he's actually had double-digit points. I mean, he's had no dead weeks. It wasn't just the bye week. He's nope, you're right.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah, but that's what we had talked about.
We said that the bye week was the bad week.
yeah,
right?
so that
counted.
means this week, just be careful.
Oh, great.
No, he should be fine. And we did mention this earlier, but in this matchup, Charles Clay, you could definitely start Charles Clay with Tyrod playing.
All right. One more matchup before starts of the week. The Dolphins take on the Patriots. Oh, man, I was curious about the line.
Yeah, well, me too. What would Vegas say they would win by? Now, this is the betting line, not what they think, but like just the average probability.
I'm going to give people a second to come up with it in their mind.
So like, is it more than a touchdown? Do you think it's like 7.5?
Is it more than 2 touchdowns?
Is it? Yeah. Is it
14?
12?
Is it
14? That'd be insane.
Think about it in your head right now. Brooks, you already know what it is, right?
Yeah, I almost quizzed you guys yesterday because I had the same reaction.
16.5 points.
This is old school Patriots. Remember
Yeah.
when they had to set the lines, the Randy Moss year, when Tom Brady had the 50 touchdowns, and
And
they
there
kept doing this.
Are you guys willing? Now,
And they would cover.
Last week, you guys had me you guys bet me, both of you versus me, that I bet that the Dolphins wouldn't get to
20 points.
17 points.
Oh, 17.
I said 17 was over under, and they scored 20. Are you willing to double or nothing me on the 17 points in this
No,
one?
No
because
way.
I'm watering you today.
Yeah, and the Patriots have been.
You're going to your feast just with soggy bottoms.
The Patriots defense did what we said they would eventually do this year. In the beginning, when they were just the worst, we said there's no way they don't turn this around by the end, but you just have to wait until it's official.
It's official.
Bing, it's official. Okay, the Patriots defense is good.
Was that the turducken? Is it ready?
Yeah. Well, the turducken usually that bell has gone off hours ago, and you forgot about it.
I know your house is burned down.
It's been terrible.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely terrible for Miami's offense. The defense, if you listened to the show yesterday, we talked about the points given up by the Patriots over the last 5 weeks. It hasn't been a lot. I don't think they've given up 20 points at all in the last 5 weeks. So you can double-check that, but it's been real low. And they're on fire offensively right now. Brady and Lewis, Brandon Cooks.
Who's your favorite running back of the week?
Deion Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the volume has now swung so high in his favor that I'm willing to throw Deion Lewis out there, especially against the Dolphins. And, if I have to pick between Drake and Damian Williams on that side, I guess you go Williams.
Oh, you got to go Damian Williams. I think that for the Dolphins, it depends on if Matt Moore is in, then you have no choice. You have to have confidence in Kenny Stills. That's just the way that the world works.
That's what I was going to say. Like, if Matt Moore's in, you're starting Landry because Landry's an auto start.
Landry and Damian
So then what do you
Williams.
do with Devontae Parker now? Can he not be started if it's Matt Moore?
He can still be started.
Legally, yes.
But I would prefer Jarvis or Kenny Stills over
Interesting.
Parker.
Just to speak to the Patriots, because you brought that up. So last week they gave up 8 points to the high-scoring Raiders. They gave up 16 to the Broncos the week before that, 13 to the Chargers, which is a pretty good offense the week before that, 7 to the Atlanta Falcons the week prior to that, 17 to the Jets, 14 to the Patriots. So you're talking about in the last –
They gave up 14 points to themselves?
Or to the Buccaneers.
It was a
that
mirror
sixth
match.
game. So you're talking about 6 games in a row here
Brady.
where the opposing team has not got 20 points, and most of the time they're under 14.
All right. Other storylines from this game, guys. Other decisions fantasy owners are trying to make. Rex Burkhead, Danny Amendola. Even Martellus Bennett has been
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I would say no thanks on Martellus.
I just tried.
No, but Amendola is, he's all over the place, but because he siphoned Gronk's points, right? Amendola had the big game. Gronk did not. So I would still put my chips on Gronk siphoning the points. So
well, the Dolphins are
Amendola's
also very poor against tight ends. They're the 28th team against
Right.
tight ends. So, yeah, I agree with you that Amendola is less exciting because Gronk should get it done.
If it comes out that somehow Chris Hogan does play, do you automatically put him in your starting lineup?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I would too. All right, we're gonna press the pause button, guys. I have a little something special I want to tell you about. Look,
King Goffrey?
this is a Megalodon episode, and I got a Megala deal that I want to tell you about. We're gonna do starts of the week right now. Before we do that, listen to this. You've heard us talk about the DFS pass. Maybe you haven't.
Oh,
Dipped
this is
your
huge
toe.
news.
This is big news. Right now, through Cyber Monday, if you go to DFSpass.com, you get the DFS pass for $10. And that's not like per week or per month or per day.
It's not you get week 12.
No.
It's you get week 12, you get
13.
week 13, you get week 14, you get week 15, you get week 16.
Are we sure we want to do this?
You get week
17?
17, you get playoffs.
Because that is
$10. $10.
A
Literally,
smoking deal.
all you got to do is go to DFSpass.com, use the code DFS10. This is a super special deal. We love the DFS Pass and the product, and we believe in it. And you're talking about exclusive articles, cash picks, GPP picks, Vegas reports, tons of exclusive content. If you bought the UDK, this is the UDK for the DFS player. Draft, FanDuel, DraftKings, no matter what you're doing, I'm telling you, this content's great.
And there's some cool tools in there too. The FanDuel DraftKings comparison chart, so you could see which, if you like a guy, look on there and you could see values that just stand out and go, oh man, I got to play this guy on that platform. It makes it really easy. Vegas reports, really cool stuff.
Yeah, and again, we want you to try it. We want you to give us your feedback. See if you love it. $10.
You got a couple days. After Cyber Monday, that's it.
right.
Right now,
I would do it right now because if you don't know about DFS for daily fantasy, Thanksgiving is huge. You go in, you play just those 3 games, make Thanksgiving just even greater.
Yeah. DFS10 is the code. DFSpass.com. Use the code DFS10. You get a $10 DFS pass for the rest of the year.
Congratulations.
That's a special deal. It's
Yeah.
a really special deal.
DFS 10.
DFS10.
Starts of the week.
Now, I don't know what percentage of the equation was me just, we do that deal because I wanted to press that congrats horn.
The horn, yeah.
That horn, I mean, it was probably 80% of why we discounted the DFS pass was so I could hit this button.
Sounds good, man. DFS
King
10.
Godfrey approves the DFS deal. All right, starts of the week.
Oh.
For week 12, guys, starts of the week right here, right now. Then we'll get into the rest of the matchups, and we got Daily Dose and something very, very special that you need to pay attention to later. So I'm not going to tell you what it is.
You better pay attention.
You got to be along for the ride. All right, let's start at the quarterback position. I don't want Jason to get thrown off like last week.
Thank you, because I'm not listening.
I'm going with Cam Newton. I want to illuminate the world of Cam Newton. Cam Newton is Cam Newton again. Last 5 weeks rushing yardage. Listen to this: 70 yards, 50 yards, 44 yards, 86 yards, 95 yards. Let's take a quarterback. Let's take a running back. Let's put them together. Welcome to Cam Newton. That's what you counted on when he was your superstar fantasy quarterback a couple of years ago in 2015. If he is all in on being himself for as long as he can be himself, then you got to be in on Cam Newton. Start of the week this week. I'm riding those rushing numbers. The baseline's so high.
Yeah, I completely agree. When he runs, that's when he's a fantasy stud. My start of the week, I talked about how much I love him, but Matt Ryan, he gets the Tampa Bay Buccaneers matchup. He's been playing much better. He still kind of has that the early season stench on him, where he was very disappointing for fantasy. He was disappointing people in just NFL. The offense, the Atlanta Falcons offense, was disappointing as a whole, but the past 4 games, each of them he has thrown for 2 touchdowns, essentially 200 yards. He even had a 302 game against Carolina. I love Matt Ryan this week.
For me, it's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has been on fire the last 2 weeks. You might remember Kirk Cousins at the beginning of the year when he was struggling, when he was trying to use
his first two.
He starts slow, man. We got to remember that for next year.
Kirk Cousins stinks in the first 2 games.
In fairness, he had kind of a broken down version of pass catchers. You had Terrell Pryor, dumpster fire. The Jordan Reed. Is he playing? Is he not? What's going on with his health? Now, if you look at the last 6 games, last 6 games is a large sample. He only has 1 game where he didn't throw for 250 yards, and in that game it was Seattle, and it was 247. So he was really close. 4 of those last 6 games have been over 300 yards passing. His last 2 games, he's got 3 touchdowns in a row.
I believe he's 3rd in the league in yardage.
Yeah, I mean he's been on fire, and now you face the New York Giants. Yes, they gave more effort, but sometimes effort's just not enough when you're bad, and they're bad, and they're especially bad against tight end.
We tell you that all the time with your fantasy team.
I know. You're like, hey, you can try hard, buddy. You'll fail.
That's the kind of friend.
And I cry, and then you put me in the cry closet.
Andy, you are correct. Kirk Cousins is 3rd.
Numero 3.
Only behind Tom Brady and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, another thing you would have missed on the Join the Footcast yesterday was Mike saying Umero Nuno.
Umero Nuno, like Cam Newton. He wears Umero Nuno on his jersey.
On his jersey. So it wasn't just Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, man, that was so bad. We've got to get that out.
We don't really need to.
There are ways.
Yeah, you need to just put it at the end of this podcast.
Wait, there are ways to get information now?
Oh, Mike, can you do that? Can you just put that at the very end?
There's no need for that. You're teasing them into jointhefoot.com. You don't want to ruin that tease.
Yeah, no, we won't put it in at the end of this episode.
Also, don't join our community. All right.
Hey, YouTube.
Running back start of the week, I mentioned him earlier, Alfred Morris. Look, the Chargers are being gashed on the ground. They're 30th against the fantasy football running backs of the league, and they've been whooped recently.
The fantasy football running backs.
That's right. That's what they are. Okay. This is a megalodon, man.
You got to keep it together. We still have a whole half a show to go.
All right. Yeah, he's being gashed.
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy, they knew he was running last week. I think Alfred Morris, we've seen enough from him, workload-wise, performance-wise, and they get Tyron Smith back, so Alfred Morris.
I'm going to go with Dion Lewis against Miami. I'm buying in. I'm buying in that Dion Lewis will be the primary ball carrier. He will get the most touches of the running back position. He looks like Dion Lewis of 2 years ago, and the matchup, it's the Miami Dolphins. It's an incredible matchup. Another rushing touchdown would not shock me at all for Dion. We've seen that James White, his usage has been pushed down by Rex Goathead, but meanwhile, Dion Lewis continues to get it done. So he's my start of the week.
Yeah, for me, I'm going back to Washington.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're starting all the Redskins?
I mean,
we
said that earlier,
really,
right?
Yeah.
Which is why, this almost upset. I really hope you're wrong because it's going to affect my starts of the week.
That doesn't mean that it's a bad fantasy game.
Sure. Obviously, the almost upset last week was New Orleans. They had great fantasy production, and you were right there. So they can both work out. But Samaje Perine he has to be started. This is one of those, like, if you've got him, just make sure you're starting him because he's the only cat in town. He's got, he had 23 carries last week. With Rob Kelly out of the way, you already knew. We told you to start him last week. That was before the Chris Thompson injury. With Chris Thompson out of the way,
he's going to catch the ball a little bit.
In a game script where at least Mike and I expect Washington and Las Vegas expects Washington to be up by a good margin, Samaje is a must start. And the fact that he could be grabbed this morning off of waivers, still insane.
And then the wide receiver position, is that what you're pointing at me?
You know what? How dare you go double Washington? I'm going to go Jamison Crowder. My start of the week at the wide receiver position, I think he's one of the beneficiaries of the Chris Thompson injury.
This one's very interesting to me.
He takes on the Giants. He has 3 straight double-digit weeks in a half-point per reception league. I think he's figuring out exactly what his role is, and they're going to need to lean on him and Vernon Davis with Chris Thompson absent. If Kirk Cousins is going to be productive, he's going to lean on Crowder.
So I wanted to ask you, does this mean that if you had Doxson and Crowder in your lineup, you would start
half and
Crowder?
Full? I'd play Crowder, and then in a standard league, I'd play Doxson. So
okay.
In the wide receiver, I really wanted my wide receiver start of the week to be Demaryius Thomas, but with the news of them officially moving to Paxton Lynch as the Denver Broncos starting quarterback, I've shifted over to Manny Sanders, and that the information from Scott Barrett that I alluded to. Here's the market share breakdown for Manny Sanders: 46.5% of Paxton Lynch's air yards, 35% of his targets, 37% of his yards, and 50% of the touchdowns. So the numbers are still okay, for Demaryius Thomas, but this evidence leads me to believe that I think Manny Sanders is slightly a better start. And the matchup against the Oakland Raiders is one that hopefully, theoretically, even Paxton Lynch can succeed in.
Yeah, my wide receiver start of the week, we mentioned earlier, it's T.Y. Hilton.
I like this one.
T.Y. Hilton is a guy.
You did it, Jason.
Yes.
You finally got me.
Well, I'm a T.Y. Hilton. Hi, my name is Jason Moore, and I'm a T.Y. Hilton owner. I have been down on him and telling people, I've pumped the brakes on him. I've said you can't start him last week against Pittsburgh because if you look at what he has done with Jacoby Brissett, and you go, well, you got to start your studs. No. You've got T.Y. Hilton is one of the guys that has really caught fire in those good matchups and disappeared and hurt you big time in all the rest. This season, he only has 3 startable games. Just startable. Everything else is literally under 7 points in half-point PPR, and that 6.9 is like his best game outside of 3 matchups. He played Cleveland, one of the worst in the beginning of the year against the wide receiver. Put up 7 for 153 and a touchdown. Then you had a game against San Francisco, one of the worst defenses out there, 7 for 177. And you had Houston, while they're a great defense against the run, they're horrific against the pass, 5 for 175 and 2. Look, the Tennessee Titans are a bad defense at the wide receiver position.
You're not worried about 1 for 19?
No, I'm not worried about 1 for 19.
That's what Hilton put up against the Titans earlier in the season.
On the road in Tennessee, where their defense plays a little bit better. This game at home, I think T.Y. Hilton is not necessarily a definite must start, but this is the week.
This is the starts of the week.
No. Well, certain weeks.
You definitely don't have to start my start of the week.
No, we say this all the time on starts of the week. Andy's looking like we don't say this. We're not saying you start him over every possible option that you have. I'm saying that
okay.
I think we try to keep it simple, though, and we just say, look, you start him.
You do start him. I think he will be about the wide receiver 15 or 16 in my rankings.
All right,
so that's
you
a
should
start.
Start him.
But
hey,
it
Andy.
just doesn't say, hey, Julio Jones or T.Y. Hilton. You said T.Y. Hilton was your start of the week. No.
Yeah, because you're like, here's this cheeseburger. Don't eat it. Maybe you should. No. Oh, don't eat it. Don't it? Yeah, eat it. Take a bite. No, spit it out.
All right, who's
Don't
your tight end, Andy?
I'm going Jared Cook. Denver can't defend the tight end. We talked about it earlier.
Yep.
31st against the tight end. There's the season for Oakland's on the line. I think Jared Cook, he's He's highly targeted.
Yeah, and
I would start him.
I would as well, because you've got a Denver defense that's hard to throw on everywhere except tight end.
Jason hates us right now.
He's flustered.
I think he might hate us.
I don't hate you guys. I love you guys.
All right.
Megala hate.
My tight end start of the week. You got to feel the Vern
Oh, yeah.
with Vernon Davis.
So we have one Washington Redskin at each position.
That's right. That's right.
On a
because
team that I think might get upset by the Giants.
I believe in Washington huge in this matchup. And I guess with Jason's logic, I would probably still start Rob Gronkowski over Vernon Davis.
See?
But other than that, he gets the New York Giants, the worst defense against the
Oh,
tight
and
end
Jason's
position.
going to the tomb.
And Jordan Reed is not expected to play.
Yeah, I'm going to the Tomb Raider. Tyler Kroft, Cincinnati Bengals face up.
He's like the stream, the tight end streamer.
It
Yeah,
was Doyle earlier.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tyler
baby
Kroft,
hands.
he's got a great matchup. You could start him against Cleveland. Very similar to the Denver Broncos and New York Giants. Those three teams, you start tight ends against them.
Okay. That starts of the week.
We did it!
Now we're going back into the fantasy forecast. Do I push the button again?
Yes, you do.
Fantasy Forecast.
Part 2. This time, it's personal.
This time, it's a lot more games. The Panthers take on the Jets in
Can we get that air conditioning going?
New York. We got a long way to go, guys. 40-point over-under. Look, I said Cam Newton's the start of the week. I thought about making McCaffrey, just how involved he is. So I like Christian McCaffrey in this game. Look, Greg Olsen, are you willing to start him the first week back?
Yep. Absolutely. Greg Olsen is a monster of a man, and if he says he's ready to play, I expect a full workload, and that's targets. And
See, you muppet or a monster of a man.
I mean, I followed you with the reference. I'm not sure how you got there.
Yeah, well,
but
you said, yeah.
am I a man or a monster?
Yeah. Am I a man or a monster?
Well, Greg Olsen's a monster of a man. The biggest question for Greg Olsen's return is the impact on Devin S. Scrumptious, because he has certainly been a benefactor of Kelvin Benjamin out of town, Greg Olsen on the sideline. Will Scrumptious, a.k.a. Devin Funchess, receive the targets that he needs to have a good game? 6 targets, 7. I mean, so he's averaging right around that 7 target mark. Will that stay there, or will that dip down to an average of 4 or 5?
I'm willing to lean on him again this week.
Yeah,
against the
I
Jets
am as
defense.
well. You might see, as Andy suspected, that it's Russell Shepard that takes the target hit if they're going to Greg Olsen. But
Could be McCaffrey that takes a little bit of a target hit too.
Absolutely. And you always need to keep in mind and remember that a good offensive weapon, he doesn't just steal targets. Sometimes he adds targets to the team because you're picking up drives and you're getting first down. So you can't just say, okay, if he gets 7 targets, somebody loses 7 targets.
It could be
because
better.
If one of those targets converts a third down into a first down, you get more tries.
Yeah. All right. So on the other side, Matt Forte, he's banged up. There's a lot of concern about his health going forward.
Yeah.
We don't think he's going to play. Is Bilal Powell startable?
I don't think so. Bilal Powell is startable in the right matchup for sure. I like him,
But not against Carolina.
Not against Carolina. Carolina has been, they're the 4th best team against the against the running back, and so Bilal Powell, he's good. He's not great. So maybe a flex in a need if Forte is out. But you still have. I mean, it's not like he then just gets everything. You still have him competing with Elijah McGuire for touches against a really good defense.
If you're curious about Powell, how many catches do you think he has the last 2 weeks combined?
0?
1. He has 1 catch over the last 2 weeks.
That's mismanagement.
I mean, that's where he's at. 9 points, 7 points, 7 points, 2 points last time he played against Tampa, which looked like a great matchup. We all expected that. 10 for 30, only 1 catch. That's the problem. He used to be
He's a
check
stud.
down
Just
Sally.
Get him the ball in space. Robbie Anderson, despite the tougher matchup against the Carolina Panthers defense, I think you have to start
Wide receiver 2,
Robbie
wide receiver
Anderson.
3.
Right on that. I'd call him a low end 2.
Stills or Robbie Anderson?
That's a great question.
Stills assuming that Matt Moore
Moore.
plays.
Yeah, if Matt Morris is playing.
I would go Robbie Anderson.
I would go Anderson too.
It's
definitely
Scrumptious versus Anderson.
Ooh.
Same game.
Oh man,
I'd go Scrumptious.
I think I would as well.
Jason, who would you go?
Yeah, I think I go Devin S. Scrumptious.
All right. Any other questions on the New York side? Are you willing to start anybody else? I mean,
Safarian-Jenkins is still he's still in play, and he and always drop it like it's hot. Safarian-Jenkins might be on your waiver wire
after the bye week.
Tried to trade for him in our Riders League this morning. So I agree. Austin Safarian-Jenkins, he's a good buy low candidate right now. He's still been involved enough to start him.
Let's talk about the Bears taking on the 9-1 Eagles in Philadelphia.
Good luck, Chicago.
13-point favorites. The Eagles are. I don't have any question about them being able to hold up their end of this equation. Any questions? You know, the Bears have had so many of these close games that you don't expect from them this year. I think everyone expected the bad record. They're 3-7.
Yeah, they found a way to lose those close games.
Yeah, they did, but I think that they've been playing.
That's what losers do.
So much
find
better.
a way to lose when the game is close.
But I agree with what you're saying.
This is me trying to give them some more.
No, they look
credit.
good.
Yeah.
They actually look like
Jordan Howard. He's going to be a 1,000+ yard rusher again. They were close last week. Trubisky brought him down the field, and they just missed a field goal to tie it to send it to overtime.
Does that make them like
they're the almost
lovable
upset of the
losers,
year,
or are they hateable, decent?
No, they're lovable losers. They're losers that you're kind of like, you know, they're gonna be okay. That's how I look at them.
Sure,
they need weapons. I mean, Trubisky needs weapons.
Well, and speaking of a weapon, as they call him in the kids call him, I believe, is the human joystick.
Yes,
at least according to Pro Football Reference, Tariq Cohen, who was an absolute sensation during the early part of the season when they were actually giving him snaps and touches, and then they just completely moved away from him. But
welcome back.
Look at last week. It was the second most snaps of his career.
9 carries, 4 receptions again last week.
A flying Superman touchdown. I mean, what do you make of Tariq Cohen? Was this just a flash in the pan, or has the team said, hey, maybe this guy who's really good at football, we should give him opportunities?
Yeah, it's tough to trust him. I mean, you know, we recommended cutting him the week before because if you look at his utilization, I mean, he hadn't had more than 1 reception since week 4.
It was the return of Benny Cunningham relegated him to the back of the line.
Right, and not only that, but so you have 1 reception since week 4, and then or no more than 1, and then you have 5 touches on the ground in the last 3 games combined. All of a sudden, this last matchup comes out, and he has the same snap percentage as Jordan Howard, is incredibly involved, and it was worth it. So he, to me, right now is a pick up and hold because I can't trust him right now. I can't just go, oh, they've decided to go back because what if they just decide based on the game plan like they did the previous 3 weeks?
LeGarrette Blount or Tariq Cohen?
Ooh.
I'd go Blount.
I would go LeGarrette Blount.
Bilal Powell, we just talked about him, or Tariq Cohen?
I think I'd go Powell.
Yeah, Powell.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure it out.
No, that's good.
Jordan Howard, locked and loaded.
Absolutely.
No options at the pass catching position.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, Dontrell Inman, after they acquired him late in the season in that trade, I mean, his first game in, he was already the wide receiver 1, 8 targets, 6 for 88. Last week, not great, but 3 for 43. So is there any interest with the Eagles defense? I mean, they're 19th against the wide receiver position. But
nope.
Okay.
Not for me,
All right.
personally. I mean, it's kind of like the Deontay Thompson situation in Buffalo where he flashed a little bit, but I just don't – I don't know. Do you answer the question for yourself. Do you think you would play him?
Yeah, probably not.
Would you play him over Aguilar on the other side of the field?
No.
Because Aguilar has slowed down a little bit?
Yeah, even with slowing down, I would still bet on the higher-powered offense.
Okay. Carson Wentz, locked and loaded. Alshon Jeffrey been scoring. I think he scored in 3 straight weeks. Zach Ertz, you're going to start him. Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blount, Corey Clement. Mike in the office yesterday, he said, you know, we've got this dynasty league that we're in together, and we keep starting other players than Corey Clement because it doesn't ever make sense to start Corey Clement. But he keeps scoring, and he keeps finding himself involved in the offense.
Is it time to kick your knees up? Clementine.
I would be all about it if Ajayi didn't just arrive, and I felt like maybe they're working him into the heavier workload.
Ajayi's snap percentage is shocking. If you look, he was like the 3rd, highest. So he was low on the rushing. For all the running backs there, he had a very low snap percentage. That leads me to believe that they are still in the process of working.
It was actually he had fewer snaps than his first game with Philadelphia.
Well, right, because while the beginning of that game was still close, I think halftime was 9-7. It quickly escalated out of control in the second half, and
the game against Denver was out of control as well. Just
in his
for that
first
theory,
game, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Blunt had 13 carries. Ajay had 7 last week.
Yep, I know.
It's a mess.
I went back and I looked. I looked at the game log of snap play-by-play, and it really, really was a mess. You had Jay Ajayi take the first snaps on that first drive. You had LeGarrette Blount come in super early. You had Kenyon Barner come in early, and Corey Clement. All 4 will be involved, so it's tough. But you have such a good offensive line and a good offense where I think you can start these guys. But the Bears are not a great matchup.
It's interesting that the best 2 teams in football right now have the least defined running back situations between the Patriots and the Eagles.
Yeah, well,
they both have a 3-4-headed monster in the backfield.
The thing with at least you can feel confident that Lewis is kind of the grinder right now.
Right now,
right?
Yeah, that's the key.
Not right now, but when you have
don't forget your turducken.
When you have Ajayi,
no, wait, that was sweet potato casserole.
Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount, who essentially do the exact same thing, that is really rough for fantasy.
The Eagles' defense, they've hit the opposing quarterback on 12.3% of plays. That's the highest in the league. They're my favorite defense of the week.
Good luck, Mitch.
They're my favorite defense this week. All right, Seahawks, you lost a close one. Why don't you play the 49ers? Travel into San Francisco. Take on the 49ers this week. Russell Wilson. Russell. Some people don't. I think now it's the Megalodon episode. Tell them why his name is like that.
One of us made.
There are a lot of those inside jokes people don't always understand.
I think it was you, Mike, that pronounced it kind of like that one day on accident.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of the
Double
dribble.
Double dribble.
Shout out to Double Dribble.
Yeah, the NES classic.
Yeah, and so it just stuck.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
All right, so Russell Wilson, it's a no-brainer. He's great. You're starting him.
Yeah.
Doug Baldwin, no-brainer. He's great. You're starting him. And Jimmy Graham's been on fire lately. 49ers defense has been bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
But you want to hear what would be nuts? If there was a Mike's almost upset of the week, this would actually be it.
Yeah?
It would. Because it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
It's San Francisco at home.
I had a little twinge.
You thought about
making a second one.
Because
so I might be with you on that.
Seattle just does this. In division, when they're on the road against lowly opponents, they often forget to show up. Not that I'm still playing them all for fantasy purposes. I'm just simply talking real NFL.
In week 2, the Seahawks beat the 49ers in Seattle 12-9.
Exactly.
So.
And now they're on the road. But like you said, Russell Wilson.
All the starts stay the same.
Yes.
J.D. McKissick,
So, yeah,
we talked about him yesterday.
Smooches?
Yeah,
Fire
start
him up?
smooches. McKissick.
All right.
I'd put him out there over Bilal Powell, for example.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree with that?
In a PPR, certainly.
I can agree.
What about a point per smooch league?
Point per smooches, I think he's number 1.
Would you play him in a standard point per smooches?
Yeah, for sure.
Not just PPR?
Right, yes. If it's a standard, if I don't get anything for receptions, but I get a point for every smooch referenced, then he's
If people
he's
could have seen our Slack chat during
amount of times.
the game on Monday night, we're just
the
sending
amount of kiss emojis and lip emojis, innumerable.
He came through.
We're ridiculous.
All right, pick one. Paul Richardson, Tyler Lockett.
Paul Richardson.
Richardson. Yeah.
All right,
Doesn't
me
work.
too. The 49ers.
Marquise Goodwin.
Who's going to run the ball?
It's Carlos Hyde, and I don't care about this. The 5th ranked against running backs for fantasy, the Seahawks defense. I don't care. Carlos Hyde dominated them on the road last time. Carlos Hyde is a great running back, and you play him every week.
Can you dominate from the bench?
He's
if
not
Matt Breida's
He had-
getting snaps?
he's
he
not
had
gonna be on the
17
bench.
carries last week. Matt Breida got, he looked good, and he'll be involved. But last week, 17 carries. Hasn't had fewer than 12 carries since week 6. So Carlos Hyde is absolutely the starter. He is being used like that. Sometimes when you see another guy like Matt Breida come up and have good games,
Breida is Austin Eckler.
You assume that they've come at the expense of the starter.
By the
but
way, they were on
here.
bye last week, so you're going back 2 weeks for
Yes.
the 49ers, but I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. Matt Breida just ends up having these weird games here and there,
Yeah,
and you just
gets touchdowns.
Marquise
Austin Eckler.
Goodwin, the good, 83 yards receiving. The bad, 1 reception.
I would play him.
Would you play him over Deshaun Jackson this week?
Ooh, that's an interesting question, and I think I would. I think I would. That my gut
Asking
is telling
for a
me-
friend.
Yeah, my gut is telling me I haven't completed the final rankings, but I think that I would.
Okay. Jason, what do you think? Cool.
I would trying to think. I would lean with the vet here. But that should show. So I would go with Deshaun Jackson over Goodwin. But that's the area where Goodwin
It's
is
close.
startable, even in this matchup against Seattle, which usually strikes fear into people. The Foot Clan is aware of the injuries that Seattle has sustained to their secondary. I think you can start both of these guys.
All right, welcome to the tougher part of the Rams' schedule. Last week they had Minnesota. This week they have to play the Saints, who are on fire, and they play them at home. 53.5-point over-under.
And I was shocked to see the Rams favored at home. I mean, they've been a great team this year, but the Saints have been stomping in.
Yeah, the Saints have been stomping in.
stomping in.
It's really.
It's a good song. It's a good ditty.
I was hoping Mike would finish it out, but
Oh, when the Saints go marching in. All right. Megalodon.
all right.
You start losing your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
With the 53
when
and
did
a
the
half,
IVs get here, Brooks? Can you roll in the IV?
with the
Look under your feet. There's
oh,
some
hook up.
Oreos
very
down there.
nice.
Oh, Oreos are down there.
Yeah, I'm never leaving. Give
Did
me
you
a
see?
colostomy bag.
Pause. Yesterday I was at the Target,
Oh, very fancy.
and man, they've got the Oreo game is just they're just throwing everything out there. I saw. So you got the white chocolate covered Oreos,
Which are the best.
Oh,
but they've
no.
got them.
Oh, no.
They are literally the best.
They are so incredibly good.
Oh man, Mike, I have.
I'm going to punch you.
I was not angry at the starts of the week area, but
You're
if you
thinking-
don't look, if you don't like them, that's fine. Shut your mouth.
Nope, I will not.
Oh my gosh.
I will not. I will
this
not.
is going to be what breaks up the
I
fantasy
will not
footballers.
allow big white chocolate to infiltrate this area.
Big white chocolate.
It's a conspiracy.
Did you just knock something down?
Yeah, Odell Beckham. I mean, you're just way to stomp on the people who are already down.
Wow.
But white chocolate. It's a conspiracy against the world. Really, that white chocolate is good because it is in fact not.
Well, Mike is losing fans.
That's fine.
You better lose fans.
All right.
And if you, that's just stupid.
Let
And
me
it's
move
like,
on.
It's like a white
the whole
fudge.
point. First of all, they're holidaying those up and they're out there and they're advertising them. And I saw them after I paid, and I still almost went back through the line, but I didn't. But they have hot chocolate Oreos, that are coming out.
What is the difference between a hot chocolate Oreo and a regular?
From what I could tell,
chocolate
what I
Oreo?
could tell, there was a chocolate cookie on the top, like a normal dark
Okay.
chocolate cookie. Then there was a brown chocolate cookie on the bottom. Then I'm guessing the cream is a little bit more marshmallowy.
Is
I
there
mean, it is-
is there like Swiss Miss sprinkles on there?
I don't know, man. And then they also had cookie butter ones.
Or do they say they're like, okay, now that you have opened the package, throw in microwave for 30 seconds.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we need to know.
Mike is on. Jason's on
I am
tilt.
genuinely on tilt.
White chocolate sucks.
This
you
is
like-
white fudge. This is white fudge covered Oreos.
First of all, do you like them
know.
cold?
Do you need me to go
do you get
there?
them cold? Do you like put them in the?
I'll go there. White fudge sucks.
Oh man.
Do you want a ruling from the judge,
Yes.
Mike?
Oh,
Yes. Give me a. Oh, we're gonna go to court over
The
this.
Fantasy
dude,
Court
Brooks. You,
with Judge Giamatti.
The plaintiff, Mike, the fantasy hitman Wright, is accusing the defendant Jason Moore of excessive love of white fudge. How do you plead, Jason?
I plead guilty as I should be.
Make your case, guys.
I
already did.
Make it quick.
Here's the case. It's a holiday special that comes out every year. It treats people with the magical flavor of white chocolate. It's unbelievably good. If you actually have it with milk, which seems weird at the beginning, you're going to find out that it's
right.
it's another level to life. And I rest my case.
Another level to life. That is a compelling argument.
It's too sweet and it's terrible.
All right.
I need a ruling from the judge.
A A rule in favor of Mike.
Yeah.
What in the?
Yeah. Eat it. Eat it. And not eat white fudge because that stinks.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this is our last show. We're done as a
There's reason
company.
I asked Mike if he would like a rule.
Oh, I know.
Brooks,
I know.
Brooks is fired.
I felt it.
Brooks has been fired. Mike, Jason is done. All right. I think we were talking about
Megalodon.
I think we were talking about the Saints.
Jesus, Brooks, we're not friends.
You've been Brooks' trade.
He's megalodon. Yep.
I think we were talking about the Saints and the Rams, guys. You want to continue?
Yep.
Yeah,
we're good.
let's continue.
You're
Andy.
not sitting Gurley. Gurley's going to play.
Yes.
You're not sitting the number 1 and number 2 running backs lately, Kamara, Ingram.
Correct.
You're not sitting Thomas or Breeze.
Does Jason faced away from me now?
Oh, he is.
This is a two-man
I never
show.
engaged with you on
What's
this
up,
show.
bud?
What's up, dude?
How's it
I
going?
love white chocolate.
Just me and you, Andy.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk
Jason
about
Williams.
Saints. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jason Williams.
White chocolate. All right, Cooper Kupp or Sammy Watkins?
Cup.
Yeah, I think you got to rely on Cup. Cup seems to.
So you two are agreeing?
Who?
You and Mike?
I don't see anybody else here. Cooper Kupp plays more of the same type of role that Robert Woods has done. Sammy Watkins has been used in that field stretching, never target him role. And so I do think that Kupp is the actual beneficiary here when it comes to the Woods targets. However, I think both players are, that being Watkins and Kupp, are startable assets this week.
This is creeping me out. He's just staring right at me the whole time. People want to know, can they roll Jared Goff back out there?
I would.
I try to avoid it. If
I would try to avoid it. His splits against top defense, it's not good. And now you've lost Robert Woods for a couple weeks. I would prefer not to.
Kobe
start him.
Fleener surprised last week. Is he a streamable option?
No,
you talk a lot about Tyler Kroft and Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry.
I don't
buy into it.
I don't buy into it at all.
You of all people.
Yeah, I mean, I know
His
I've
nickname was
I've
White
been
Chocolate as well.
I've been the resident Kobe Fleener apologist here, and I'm happy he had a great week. And if there is another team out there that perhaps could get up into a big lead on the Saints, we've seen the Rams do that to teams that we don't expect them to. But losing Robert Woods, I believe, does matter. They are at home. But last week, the Washington Redskins got out to a big lead, a lead that we assumed the game was over.
Yes.
And when they had to come back and just throw the ball like crazy, I mean, you look at Mark Ingram had a great game last week. He only had 11 carries, but he still was the primary ball carrier. That's how much they threw the ball. And if they're in that situation against the Rams, sure, Kobe Fleener will be okay. But I don't expect the Rams, without Robert Woods, to be able to get out to a big lead. I mean, we just, in agreement said that we don't think we would prefer to start Jared Goff this week.
I like that they're home. I think it'll be a competitive game. I'm not going to be surprised if they win it. But real quick, mailbag question from Andrew in Louisville. Should I start Breeze or Goff or pick up Dalton?
Oh,
Breeze.
that's interesting.
I think I might play Dalton. It's not like Breeze. To me, Breeze has not earned himself an auto start this year. He's around the 12th best quarterback.
right.
So I'm going to go Dalton against Cleveland.
I think I'm okay going with Dalton. You have the Rams, who they're the fifth best. They're seventh best against fifth best against the quarterback, seventh best against the wide receiver. I mean, I expect Mark Ingram and Kamara to be dominant forces, and we could see another situation of the Saints just completely leaning on the run.
Yeah, I mean, that is a reality
That's
with
the
how
danger
the Los
with
Angeles
Breeze.
Rams
You got to have
stack
some
up.
red courage to start Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
All right, the Jaguars.
Red courage.
They take on the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. Jacksonville, 7-3 right now.
Game, blonde bombshell time.
Nothing like Blaine Gabbert and Blake Bortles in the same game together. Blaine Gabbert getting the start again.
I feel like I need that Spider-Man meme.
I told you guys this week, I'm the most worried about Adrian Peterson in terms of relying on him for the playoff run because you just don't know when a good game versus a bad game is going to happen. I thought we'd see better from him last week against Houston. We didn't. Now you've got to take on Jacksonville, and while Jacksonville's defense is insanely good, I think their running and rushing defense, they're only middle of the pack because they would choose to be. I mean, it's when you defend the pass so well that all your opponent can do is run the ball, your totals are going to be higher than how good you are at stopping it. I think they realize that, look, Arizona, they want to put it on Blaine Gabbert, not Adrian Peterson. I'm not very excited about anybody in this game other than the fact that Larry Fitzgerald's home splits are so good and he lines up in the slot more, so maybe he avoids A.J. Bouye and Jalen Ramsey. What do you guys think? What's the headline for you in this game? Are you avoiding Cardinals?
I'm going to play Fitz, like you said, home game. Do you want to play the number 1 tight end from last week?
No.
No.
Talking about Ricky Seals-Jones?
I
was just trying to get you to.
Yeah, you can't play him. But are you interested at all in Big Gresh?
No.
There was success to the tight end position last week. It just was not Big Gresh.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't start him.
Yeah, it's really tough. I'm not even sure I love Larry Fitzgerald in this game.
Oh, I don't love him. I'd be willing to start him.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's like he's a start of the week.
And the Jacksonville
right.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars, since they made that trade with Buffalo, they've been very good against the run. So Adrian Peterson, I'm avoiding every single Cardinal, other than, if you need to flex in Larry.
You're avoiding Larry, wide receiver 4?
No, I said other than if you need to flex in Larry, I'm okay. But everybody else.
Yeah, I guess I'm coming off of a week where I pumped the brakes on Larry and he proved me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Bortles against the Arizona defense. You want any piece of that?
Maybe. It's definitely interesting.
You want it? Is he a 12 to 15 guy? Do you want Tyrod Taylor or Blake Bortles?
Ooh, probably
Tyrod Taylor for sure.
Yeah, I think it's Taylor, but that like 14 to 16 range. So a possible streaming candidate.
Goff, Bortles.
I would take Goff. I mean,
man, I think I would take Bortles.
The over-under in Arizona is only 38 points.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at that 38 points, the percentage chance that 7 to 14 of those points are scored by Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. So I just don't see a lot of fantasy upside here. I'm going to start Leonard Fournette if I have him.
No doubt.
Larry if I need to.
Yeah, I think you go Goff versus Bortles because you've got Vegas seeing 54 points out of that game.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
All right, the Raiders. They take on the Broncos. The Raiders are at home in this game. I talked about Jared Cook earlier, start of the week. Paxton Lynch gets the start in Denver. We've actually talked a lot about the Denver side of this equation. At the running back position, Booker or C.J. Anderson?
Oh, man.
Let's say you got both of these guys. You got to pick one. Where are you leaning? The Raiders are right now 27th against fantasy running backs, giving up 23.1 points per game. They also stink against quarterbacks and tight ends.
So we saw, it's funny. We said, oh, man, if this could only be a two-headed monster, and Booker and C.J. Anderson would both – two-headed worm.
Thank you.
Booker and C.J. Anderson would both be valuable. Well, that's basically what we saw last week. Jamal Charles was not used, and Devontae Booker became the primary
4.9% of snaps last week for Jamal Charles.
Exactly. And so, in this matchup, because it is an easier matchup, I think I still lean with C.J. Anderson. That being said, I don't blame anyone, especially, look, if I'm in a full PPR, then I would much rather rely on the baseline of Booker.
Mike prefers Emmanuel Sanders over Demaryius Thomas this week, gave those reasons with Paxton Lynch and his history. Mm-hmm. This is a wait-and-see week with Paxton Lynch, too. I mean, just seeing what you have in this offense, what can improve with a new offensive coordinator and new quarterback. All right, Derek Carr, Lynch, Crabtree, and Cooper. What are we doing, guys? This Broncos defense, they're not the same, but they're still fantasy points. They're only giving up the fourth least in the league. But they give up touchdowns. They do give up touchdowns.
They do. They have this freakish thing where they don't give up yards, but they give up touchdowns.
Break but don't bend, they call it.
Nice. I don't really want to play any of
Crabtree?
I like Jared Cook.
Crabtree kind of got back on. And for those of you who are a little disappointed by him, the target counts last week were there.
Sure. Yeah, he got back up to the double-digit targets, but only ended the game with 6 for 51.
Yep. No touchdown. Hasn't scored in a little while. 3 weeks.
Yeah, Crabtree's fine as a 2. I don't love it. I don't think that there's tremendous upside, but I do not want to play Carr in this matchup.
And my original pump the brakes was actually not Alex Collins. It was Marshawn Lynch. He's had more involvement over his last 2 games and has been okay. And this just doesn't appear to me to be the matchup that I want to bank on against Denver, who's been really good against the run in all but 1 game.
Okay. Speaking to the Broncos defense, 22 touchdowns, tied for most in the NFL. That's what they've given up.
But part of that
22 touchdown passes. Didn't they have a season where they barely gave up any on the whole year, like 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Part of that, and when we talk about the break, don't bend offense where they're giving up touchdowns but not yards, that's actually a field position problem based on their offense.
Sure.
Their quarterback has been so bad throwing interceptions, putting up guys in position to where it's like, oh, I start in the red zone. This is very nice. And Paxton Lynch is not – I don't expect him to fix the problems. If anybody is going to fix the problems here for the Denver offense, it will only be the Oakland defense.
I'm not sure there was a more disappointed and sad place in America than Lambeau Field last week. The Packers were shut out at home, and now they get to travel to Pittsburgh and play the Steelers.
Good luck.
You've got some big underdogs this week. The Steelers are 14-point. I'm surprised it's that small. 14-point favorites, 41.5-point over-under. That's basically saying they believe that the Packers defense is going to do enough to keep Pittsburgh under control. Do you guys believe that's the case?
Yes.
Or are you starting everybody on Pittsburgh?
I would start. Yeah, I mean this is a calling all cars situation for Pittsburgh. I'll stream Big Ben at home in a plus matchup. Of course, Lev and Brown are automatically in, and then because the matchup is excellent, I'm willing to play Juju. Although, do you have any concerns of playing Juju for fantasy purposes since he has tiny hamstrings?
I don't think he has earned an auto start situation, so I'd be looking at a couple other options on my team. I mean, I can give you some ideas, and you guys can tell me.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the Steelers and you've got a hamstring, that hamstrings only get better with rest. There's only one, there's no like, hey, take this pill for your hamstring type of situation. And you're playing against the Packers at home, I would lean towards just
You can't
resting
just
him.
eat, like, ham?
Yeah, it'll grow your hamstring.
I'm just asking, man.
I don't
Thanksgiving.
believe so, but it is Thanksgiving, so it's worth. Let me write.
Would
it
you
down.
rather play Kenny Stills this week with more confidence than you would Juju?
No. If Juju is active for me,
Funches?
I'd go Funches.
I would go Funches. Yeah.
Stephon Diggs?
Diggs.
Yep.
Paul Richardson?
No.
Ooh.
That's tough. That's close.
Rashard Matthews?
Matthews.
Okay. All right. That helps. The Packers. Wow. Okay. Where are we? What planet is this?
Devontae Adams has been the clear leading
Yes.
wide receiver.
Yes.
He is the first read. He's the primary target.
It's because his volume is there that the lack of red zone, opportunities doesn't matter, right? He's a PPR asset in spite of the fact that they can't score.
Yeah, I still don't love him in this matchup because Pittsburgh is very good. But Baltimore last week, another very good defense against wide receivers, and there were just so many targets. It's kind of like what we've been seeing with DeAndre Hopkins. He's getting so many targets that even though they're not quality targets, it works out for him. So if you need to start Devontae Adams, I'd be willing. Jamal Williams, if Ty Montgomery is out, you start him.
Even if Montgomery plays, I would still play Jamal Williams. He's averaging 19 carries a game.
Yeah.
Since his opportunity
And he's going
arrived.
to catch a few passes.
Exactly.
Outside of those two, I don't think you could start. You can't start Jordy.
No.
You can't start Cobb.
Do you
can't
consider
start Hundley.
Do you consider like a vicious bench of Jordy Nelson? Like you just push the button really hard, put him on your bench, like take it out on him?
No, I don't have him on my roster. He's a perfect landmine. I mean, because if you drop him, if Jordy's out there, someone's going to pick him up, and they might play him. And that's not to say Jordy won't have another good game rest of season, but are you going to have that in your lineup?
Nope.
You're probably going to get that on your bench.
Oh man, Jordy, poor Jordy. Monday Night Football: Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens. Ravens at home. Ravens are 7-point favorites. And the game is only projected for 38 points. Not a lot to be excited about in this situation.
I'm very excited for my Ravens DST.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. DeAndre Hopkins, he has earned the every week, no matter what situation. 3 games without Deshaun Watson, 3 games in double digits, I think 3 games with scores, at least 2 of them. You disagree with me on that one?
No, I don't disagree that you start him, but Yeah, I still have my hesitations.
Yeah, I want to disagree with you. I do. I mean, everything in me
Scored
says
in 2 of the 3 games.
everything in me says that he's got such a bad quarterback and such a bad matchup here. But
I would say the matchup was worth last week with Patrick Peterson literally following him all over the field. Though.
Yeah,
but I think you have a far more complete defense instead of just relying on the shutdown corner, which and Hopkins, I guess this is just the glass half full how you want to look at it, because Hopkins did succeed, but was –
Would you advise anybody to sit him this week?
No, I wouldn't. And if you look at the argument I just made about Davante Adams, relating it to Hopkins, last week Davante Adams played against this Baltimore Ravens defense and was fine because of the target volume. So, yes, you're going to start Hopkins, but I see him more as a wide receiver 2 this week.
All right. On the other side of the ball, you had the Mike Wallace game last week. Is anybody piggybacking that, trying to get him out there?
No, but Jeremy Maclin is interesting.
You'd be more interested in Maclin, huh?
Yes.
What did Maclin do last week?
He was 5
pretty
targets,
disappointing.
4 for 34.
Okay. But you'd play him over Wallace.
I would.
Not going to lean into the touchdown.
The Texans are really bad against wide receivers. I mean, their rushing defense is so good that you pretty much have to throw the ball, and then you find success there, and you go, yeah, let's not do that running thing anymore.
Do you have any interest in streaming Ben Watson? It was bad last week, only 1 catch for 33 yards, but we're 2 games removed from 10 targets for Ben Watson. I
think you're going to see what you saw with
Danny
Dennis
Woodhead
Pitta.
says no.
This is like Dennis Pitta light. And if you remember Dennis Pitta last year, that wasn't that good. Even though he led tight ends in receptions, it still wasn't valuable. If you're in a full PPR league, then maybe you can try to get 6 total points out of him. But
I would flex Danny Woodhead this week. I feel totally comfortable at home doing that. Second week back, I think they want to use him all over the field. Their weapons are limited. That's why I don't like Watson. I'm all about Danny Woodhead. I think he's going to end up as a running back 2 this week.
I love Woodhead in general. Like, he's a guy I think is going to win people championships over the next few weeks.
Well, you got to start now. Why don't you start winning now, Danny?
It's a really tough matchup there. But
Danny boy.
Now I'm just picturing that movie in my head.
And Mike Wallace might be a sneaky play here.
Yeah, he might.
Lamar Miller.
But you would prefer Maclin, right?
I would prefer Maclin, yes.
Lamar Miller, he's starting, and then you're not messing with Bruce Ellington this week after the good week last week?
Nope.
Okay. Guys, we made it through all the matchups.
Oh.
What?
But there's still more good stuff.
Yeah!
On the Megalodon.
Megala, don't stop.
Megala can't stop.
The Daily Dose, brought to you by Draft.
Welcome to Thanksgiving.
We're doing a Thanksgiving edition of Draft, so we will be only selecting players from the 3-game pool
That we get to watch tomorrow?
Absolutely. This is going to be fantastic. And my favorite part of this right now is if you look at the quarterback position, Matthew Stafford has been replaced. His avatar is an actual turkey.
Good job, Draft.
Wow, that's impressive. This is going to be fun, though.
This will be.
Three great games tomorrow. Jason gets to start out. We pick 5 players head-to-head, and, the loser has to apparently – maybe Mike has to eat a – you know what? That's what we're going to do.
I have to eat Thanksgiving?
No, you have to eat a white chocolate Oreo.
Oh.
Dude,
all right.
that is not a punishment.
Well,
I
you
am
don't get
so on tilt about this still.
Jason.
Well, tilt through your first pick,
I
please.
tweeted.
It's your pick, buddy.
Yeah, it's my pick. All right, I'm on the clock. I guess I'll do that. I was hoping I got the number 1 pick because I'm taking Melvin Gordon.
Wow.
Interesting.
All right. Going Melvin Gordon. I see it.
He's gonna
I
have a great game.
understand. But I'm gonna jump right into the quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I was
Problem is
interested to
you're
see
not
if
going
you
to
would
take
do
2 quarterbacks because you can't. So there's no need for me. I have 2 guys that I'm okay with. Oh, my gosh.
Nice strategy.
You want that
play.
Kirk Cousins?
I'm going to just take Samaje.
Ooh.
Oh, all right. He's going with Samaj AP, Ryan. I'm going to go with –
He was like, oh, that's Jason's start of the week.
I actually panicked a little bit because I got down to like 5 seconds.
I'm going to take elite wide receiver 1, Adam Thielen, against Detroit because I do not mind that at all. And then I'm going to follow that up with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I almost took Cousins with the first pick. At this point now, you're staring down Dak and Phillip Rivers. I'm probably going to let Jason make that decision for me. And so in this case, I'm going to go with another running back. I'm actually going to take Jerick McKinnon.
Oh, I'm so happy about that because there was a guy I wanted, and it was your start of the week, and it was a running back. I'm taking Alfred Morris.
Nice. There you go.
Oh, and I'm back on the clock. So
That's how it works.
I agree
Snake
with
drafts 101.
Yeah, I do agree with the logic of letting Mike pick my quarterback because I don't really have a huge preference there. So I am going to go with the pump the brakes from Andy and Keenan Allen that I disagree with. I think he's going to be just fine.
All right. I'm actually going to roll back through here. I haven't done this before. I'm taking a tight end. I'm going Evan Ingram, pass catcher.
Ooh, I'm actually a little sad that I did not take Alfred Morris. The running back Pickens is slim, so I'm just going to take the I'm on the corner, so I'm going to take the best two options available, and Orleans Darkwa and Latavius Murray.
Very fair.
I'm going to double up. I'm going to complete that running back position, so I'm not starting trash.
Yeah, I'm gonna bank on the bigger game from Mr. Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna throw his upside in there. Jason, you got a couple picks. You're gonna have to pick a quarterback, and then I'm gonna get the leftover.
Yeah,
because I don't care if I get Dak, Phillip Rivers, or Stafford, or Keenum. So
there's a lot of decent options. I'm actually going to go with the tight end position, dig a little deeper, because I know, Mike, I know you're feeling the Vern.
I am.
But you don't get him. I'm going to take Vernon Davis here. And at the quarterback position, it's really tough between Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Phillip Rivers. All three guys, I think, could have great weeks. We don't know about Dak Prescott yet. Matthew Stafford's usually great on Turkey Day. So I'm going to kind of split the difference and take a guy I think he might not have the best upside, but he won't disappoint.
It would have been my pick.
And I'll take Phillip Rivers.
I will take the Dak Prescott and hopeful upside there just because I think he's better than going Keenum and waiting, but maybe not.
Now, draft is half-point PPR, so there's some PPR guys left. You know, Golden Tate, Andy Start of the Week, Jamison Crowder.
Is it hard for you to see Des Bryant's name on that list still?
It certainly is. But I'm going to double stuff here because I'll play to win, baby.
Who'd you go with?
I'm going to go with Josh Doxson.
Why don't you read your team back?
I believe in the breakout.
Your Turkey Day draft.
I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins, Orleans Darkwa, Latavius Murray, Adam Thielen, Josh Doxson.
Okay. I have Dak Prescott, Samaje P. Ryan, Jerick McKinnon, Evan Ingram, and Stephon Diggs. I feel like I'm either going to win or lose terribly. I've got a lot of
play to win
polarity.
And I did not realize that I have three Chargers. I'm really banking on Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen. Go Chargers!
You can join.
I've got Alfred Morris and Vernon Davis alongside my Charger clan.
You can join various tournaments on draft.com/ballers. Stretchy Pants tournament, the Thanksgiving and Receiving 2 tournament, the Turkey Trot tournament, the Mashed Potato tournament.
Oh, that's fun.
The puns and names never stop. But you can have a lot of fun. We're going to compete. Mike, I want to see you have to eat white chocolate Oreos.
So I put a tweet out there during the show because I was just so angry.
You did it mid-show?
You know it. So I put a poll out there, white chocolate-covered Oreos. The options were great or awful. I'm super stupid. And
I see, leading the witness.
You're darn right I am. I'm trying to help the people. That's why we're here. We're here to help people make good decisions.
But if it's actually so good, you wouldn't need to help people.
And 38% of people think it's awful, and they are super stupid. I'm so disappointed.
That's a high percentage.
That's a huge. It should
Do you
be
think
like
that they just wanted to be stupid?
5-5.
Maybe those are just stupid people.
Yeah, maybe
they voted for stupid.
If I just said awful, they wouldn't have voted.
Yeah, that's you're going to have to deal with some demons after this.
I'm
show.
going straight from here to like Target.
Yeah,
getting some white fudge.
If you made it this far,
fuzzy wigs.
If you made it this far in the show,
wait, we need that horn.
We got a little something special. We have a secret hashtag. We want to see it on Twitter. If we see it on Twitter, you're entered to win a $100 gift card to shopballers.com. You are the fan of the fan. You are the champion of Thanksgiving.
You made it through the Megalodon.
Megalodon. The hashtag is #MegaStuff17.
2 Fs.
MegaStuff17. Let us know that you finished the Megalodon episode. Throw that hashtag in there. You'll be entered to win some sweet Fantasy Footballers gear. All sorts of stuff you can get. Shirts at shopballers.com. $100 goes to a randomly selected winner in that group. And I'm telling you, I can't wait to see all the Megala finishers.
Yeah, use that. And did you say tweet at us with it?
Yeah.
So long as they use the actual hashtag,
Yeah, we'll be able to find
pound
it.
symbol, then we'll find
I
it.
guess that's
You ever
fair.
used the old Twitter, Mike?
Yeah, I have. I just wanted to make sure it
We're
wasn't
verified over here, so
We
we can
understand how
teach
to use
you.
it. Mega
Yeah.
Stuff 17. Don't forget DFS 10. Is that what the code is?
Yeah, if you wanted the
Yes.
$10 DFS pass,
Yep, that's
DFSpass.com.
for
it's
Thanksgiving,
DFS
Black
10.
Friday,
Yeah, a lot of reminders
Cyber
'cause
Monday.
the show was huge.
You can go to YouTube and check out the customized fantasy football jerseys from fantasychamps.com and use the code CHAMPSFREE if
I
you
remember-
want free U.S. shipping on anything at fantasychamps.com.
I remember years ago, this is before we ever had the fantasy footballers, Andy, you talking about someone someday needs to make basically where you can customize your fantasy football team like jersey. They read your old brain.
Yes, my old brain.
waves, And they did it. This is I will never draft not in my own jersey again.
Good luck to you in Week 12. Hope you have some success this week. Hope you have a wonderful, awesome holiday with your families. And hopefully I come back on Monday and am still undefeated in our Dynasty League. Last little thing for the day. I want to hear it. Brooks, favorite Thanksgiving food is?
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes
gravy.
from Brooks. Mike, your favorite Thanksgiving food is?
I don't know if it's the ultimate cheeseburger or the curly fries from
Okay.
Jack in the Box.
All right. Jason, favorite Thanksgiving Day meal
Is
or food?
the ham dipped in the mashed potatoes with a little bit of stuffing on top?
I will allow you, of all people, to mix things together.
I
Do you,
appreciate it.
Jason, do you use utensils?
I do. I've got a
In
little tiny
Thanksgiving?
shovel.
I'm going with the pumpkin pie. Thank you so much for listening. You guys are amazing. Thanks for the
did
support.
it, America! See you on Monday. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.
I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger.